Welcome, 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 Snowdrop, welcome. Already awake that early in the morning. So. Let's see what we want to do today. I have some spicy stuff coming up. I will do and push into tier 3 today. Or I already did last stream, and this stream I will play tier 3 only. That will be exciting. In fractals, of course. Looking forward to it, looking forward to it. So there we go. Welcome everybody. Good morning, good morning. Really? Why not? Interesting. Let me try. Let me try. Welcome, Sochak. Welcome, welcome. Okay, for me it worked. It's fine. Thanks for reminding me. Thanks for reminding me. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Hope you had a nice day so far. Why am I here? I wanted to go to, where is it? South Sun Cove, because I noticed I need some mastery points to finally, at some point, unlock the auto loot that I'm still missing, like after months of playing on this account. So one of the easy mastery points that you can get is from killing the Kaka Queen. So that's what we want to do today in like 2 hours, I think she spawns. So that's what I want to do. So now I have the waypoint, that's good. And I also have some other ones prepared that are quite easy to do, but we will see if we can get them done today. I'm a little bit skeptical because some of them are, yeah, quite annoying. Like killing all the chicken in the urban battleground fractal. It's like, okay, it's just like it takes time. It's quite annoying, to be honest. Yeah, it's fine either way. It's fine. Okay, so what else do we want to do? I wanted to finally get my stuff to my Ascended gear fully, like at least +9 agony infusions. So that's what we're gonna do now, so that I can push into tier 3 fractals with having the most amount, or at least the required amount of agony resistance. Should not be a big problem, because the highest that they will go to in tier 3 at 75 is I think 108. So I'm already like quite close with 88 here. And I bought some agony infusions for that. I think I bought a little bit too much, but we will see. Can never have enough agony infusions, I guess. In the worst case, I will just buy a higher tier one and either sell it or use it. So it's really important. So if you're a new player and want to push into higher fractal levels, it's really, really important. Thanks, Snowdrop. Really appreciate the prime. 8 months already. That's crazy. Yes, thanks. 8 months already. Crazy, crazy. So I want to go to this guy and purchase some agony infusions. I can purchase 16. Okay, that's probably too much, I would say, but still. So I will purchase a few. And I think like maybe 6 or something. And then I will be able to like extract it as well. Because for a new player, you might have a +6 infusion or something that drops and you put it on your chest or whatever. And at some point you want to upgrade it, but you don't want to destroy the infusion, which would be the case if I would just double tap it or use it here, yeah? It would say destroying the upgrade. I don't want to do that, so you can go to this guy, to this infuse 5959, and then you can go to this infusion extraction device here in the second to last tab. And if you have the mastery unlocked for fractals, you can then purchase those. I will purchase, I think, like 6 of those. And then you can extract the infusion. This will only extract infusions. It will not extract the rune. So it's not exactly the same item that you can get from the Wizard's Vault. The Wizard's Vault, you can get this item. Where is it here? This upgrade extractor. This upgrade extractor will extract any upgrade. So it will extract the upgrade in terms of sigil and infusion. But if you have this specific infusion extractor, it only extracts the infusion. So for me, that's good enough. But if you want to extract the rune, then get the one from Wizard's Vault. So let's extract some gear here. And then we can get the higher agony infusions in there. +9 is completely fine if you have the high, want to push to 150 agony resistance. +9 infusions everywhere is completely fine. If you want to go higher for some more stats, that is a little bit more, how's it called? A little bit more advanced, but you can still easily do that. No, I'm streaming on Twitch and YouTube. So if you are on YouTube, you can easily ask questions there. If you're on Twitch, you can ask questions there, whatever you like, whatever suits you better. Okay, so I extracted all of those, +9, +9, nothing, very good. And there we have 2 more. I still have to run the Celestial versions here. I'm not happy with that, but what can I do? I don't have the Harrier versions yet, and they are still ascended, so that's good enough. Let's equip the +9er infusions, very good. How do you get extra stats, like for example +5 power on those infusions beside agony? So there are multiple ways nowadays to get this. So +9 infusions and +5 like stats, power, healing power, whatever. You can buy them from the TP, some of them at least. So if you go, for example, to, let's say, ghostly infusions, you can buy them from the TP. They cost like 70 gold. They have a specific look. They drop from raids. You can also purchase them from raid vendors. And they have those, yeah. If you can also go for the poly saturated infusions. They drop currently from Halloween. You can also do that. They also have a specific skin. So you cannot have those stats from this item here without having the skin on your character, so it turns you yellow or blue or something. But yeah, those are also a little bit expensive, but you can also like go really crazy and go for the Chuck infusion. Yeah, those also have stats, yeah. But other than that, you can go to the Fractal vendor and go here to this tab, attribute infusion creation or whatever, yeah. So here you can purchase those as well, but they are quite expensive. So it's like they cost a lot of, yeah, for example, those integrated fractal matrices. So it's not something that you can get like very, very easily or very cheap in that regard, but you can do it, yeah. And the last option, if you only want the stats and don't want the agony resistance, you can go into World vs. World to a Laurel merchant and then purchase the, where are they? Those infusions here in World vs. World specifically, because then in World vs. World you get the World vs. World stats, so +1 damage, +1% damage to guards or defense against guards, plus the stats instead of the agony. So if you don't run fractals or don't want to use this character in fractals at least, then you are fine with those as well. But if you want to push high level fractals then and you want to still have the best in slots infusions, then you have to spend some gold there. That's how it goes, yeah. Would you recommend selling the trigger treatbacks now or later at a higher price when the supply is not that high? So I think the important part here to understand is that currently the demand is very high and the supply is very high. So it's quite balances itself. So if you're impatient, you can easily sell it right now, and I think that's what I would do. If you are very patient, you can wait 6 months. I would not wait like a month. That's not enough. You have to wait like at least a couple of months. I would recommend 6 months, so that it's like almost everyone has sold their bags or it's just ran dry the market. And then you can sell. And then the prices are higher, of course, but also the demand is lower. So if you wait too long or if you wait like too short, then you will not sell them at the price that you like it. So I would say if you can wait 6 months and have like stacks of those, yes, it can be very worthwhile because they will double in price or something like that or even higher. But you have to wait really a couple of months. That's the thing. Yeah. Welcome, Patricia. Welcome. Guten Morgen. Welcome. But that's just what I would say, yeah. It doesn't like, it depends a bit on sometimes on the year. It's not always exactly the same, but I would highly expect that this will be the case. So where are all my infusions? Oh, okay. We also need to get another trinket here. One more trinket slot, it's good. We can maybe purchase an accessory here. Where is it? I also want some ascended salvage kits at some point. Let's see. So much stuff to purchase here from the vendors. So ascended here. No, not you then. Yeah, I guess I will just purchase the It's a bit annoying. I will purchase from the local merchant here some ascended trinkets that I just need. I need not an amulet, not a ring. I need an ascended accessory, and there is sadly not the one that I like with like concentration in here. That doesn't exist here as far as I know. The best one that I can get is Celestial, which is quite annoying. It's not perfect, but I really want to get an ascended trinket here. And it's quite expensive here, but oh, what can I do? I really have to get it at some point. I could also be like absolutely Giga Chat and purchase a Berserker piece, because maybe I should do that, because in the future I might need a Berserker piece anyway. For example, for Power Chronomancer, if I want to play this here on this account. So I will double dip in that. I think that actually might be the smarter choice. It's obviously not the meta build. I would use full Harrier gear for that one, but maybe it's smarter to do that. Let's see. How about buying a lot of them now and selling them after like 6 months? That's investment. Yeah, if you want to do that, sure, do that. But investing is always something that might turn out to be working. Yeah, but you never know the future. You cannot predict the future. At least I cannot. So it might also like turn out to be that this year is the only year where it did not go up in price, and you just bought a lot, and then the demand goes down, and you cannot get rid of them again. I would say if you like that kind of gold making, sure, go for it. But I would say it's not guaranteed, but it's quite close to guaranteed. So yeah, maybe it's worthwhile if you want to sit and invest some money in there. Yeah, sure, go for it. Anyway, I was feeling like lab farm is boring as I need the gold, but I can't just bring myself to farm it. I think it's quite boring. If you want to maximize it and have something on the, for example, second monitor running, I think it's okay, but I would never ever do the lab farm on my single monitor, focused like with 100% of my brain on this lab farm. I totally agree. I think it's very boring, especially if you play some specific builds where you don't have to interact a lot with others. Yeah. Welcome, Taze. Welcome. Yeah, I think I will buy the Berserker one, you know, just because I can. There we go. And now we have it. And we can also equip the +9 Agony Infusion. And we are at the maximum that we need for tier 3. Very good. And I also want, while we are already like crazy with purchasing stuff, I want to get some gems. I need 720 gems because I want to purchase some stuff, and that will cost almost all my gold. So 720 gems, it's quite expensive right now, but there are currently sales going on for items that I really, really want. So I will purchase some gems here, and that is quite expensive. It's really painful to do, but that's what we do. Because I need, what would you guess? I will go for the Candy Corn Gobbler. The Candy Corn Gobbler is such a good item that even on this new, rather fresh account, I want to get this item, and it's just so good. There we go, we purchased it, and we have it. Very nice. That's very good. Now we can gobble. That's very good. And I guess we put it here. Very good. And another thing that I want to purchase, while we are already at purchasing stuff from the gem store, you might have guessed it with 480 gems. It's the Rune Crafters. I will purchase the Rune Crafters and not the other two. That's specifically for this account. I will, of course, if you want to min-max everything, then you would get all 3 of those. The Silver Fat is like just quality of life. If you don't mind crafting the Mystic Salvage kits that I do all the time here, then that's completely fine. You don't need the Silver Fat. But the Copper Fat is very, very worthwhile. It's just very convenient, and it saves you a lot of time and just also money in the long run. So it's really good to get this one. The Rune Crafter is just the middle ground, which is really, really valuable if you have a lot of pieces of unidentified gear. Not the common one, but the normal one. And therefore, this is the item that I will go for. I will not purchase all of them now, maybe in the future, but right now I think this is a very, very good purchase for me here on this account. So there we go. We spend a lot of gold right now just for some quality of life upgrades. And they will also pay off in the long run. I'm pretty sure about that. So there we go. We will always sell the blue stuff now and open the green stuff and salvage the Rune Crafters. That's the way we do it. Yeah, that's good, Carlos. That's good. better here on Twitch. That's okay. Everyone can watch where they want. I stream on Twitch and YouTube. So if you sometimes don't see a question in chat because I answer it and you think, what, where is it? Then it's probably because I answer a question from YouTube chat and I'm not allowed to show YouTube chat on screen while I'm streaming on Twitch. That's just against the terms of service. So sorry for that. But I will always try to repeat the question or at least read it out loud so that you can actually see and understand what I'm talking about. Welcome, Luffy. Yes, you can change the stats of ascended armor quite easily. So if you have a specific armor piece here, like this one, and you want to change the stats from Harrier to Berserker, for example, then you need a Berserker inscription, an exotic Berserker inscription. So that would be something like Berserker and then crafting material, and then, for example, that would be for armor and that would be for weapons. So something like 5 gold. You have to get this. You have to get the item from that you want to change the stats in. And then let me quickly go out of this instance because you need to go to a Mystic Forge vendor to actually, so I can showcase this. You need a specific item that is, I think, only used or almost exclusively used for this thing, which is called the Augur Stone. No, which is called the Anthology of Heroes. Exactly, that's what I meant. So 10 spirit shards to change it. This one you need. So you have this one, you have the item, you have the insignia or the inscription that you need, the exotic one, from the stat that you want to change it to. And the last part that you need is ectoplasm, globs of ectoplasm. Those 4 things together will cost you around, like, I don't know, 5 to 10 gold. There we go. Ectos, that's the last thing that you need. And those things together with 10 spirit shards, you can change that how many times you like. But of course, in the long run, it's better to get either the correct stats, both of them, on Ascended gear, or even get Legendary gear. Exactly. Yes, there is Celestial there. Yes, that is correct. Celestial is a little bit annoying because you have to, like, the Celestial how's it called? Inscription is not something that you can purchase, I think, from the trading post. So you have to craft it yourself. That's the annoying part. But you can stat change every single stat into every other stat. You just need the inscription or the, how's it called, insignia. Those 2 things, depending on armor or weapon. You need one of those to change it. And if you cannot get it from the trading post, this one, you have to craft it yourself. So the Celestial one is a little bit annoying, for example, if you want to change something into Celestial. Yeah. But it's definitely a worthwhile investment because it's not that expensive and it's the best in slot gear. So it's overall, like, really nice in that regard. Plat farming should be classified as a legal form of torture. I mean, some people like it. I know if you look at the amount of advertisements in the LFG, it's actually insane how many people are actually doing it. Even in the morning right now, it's a lot. And if you do it in the prime time, it's like, I don't know, 10 times the amount when you scroll down. It's crazy. A lot of people do it. So I wanted to also purchase some more agony stuff for the future, I guess. There we go. We can sell those, I guess. Yes, I think it looks good. Looks good. Looks good. A little bit cleaner inventory. We have the agony that we need. We are quite happy. Now we can either play fractals or whatever comes up. Why is that item so important for 720 gems? So it's not exactly 720 gems. It's 480 gems for this rune crafters and 240 for the gobbler. The gobbler is really good. I will quickly explain why the gobbler is so good. The gobbler gives you a random transformation or a boost for 3 candy corn. So it's like there is some drop rate research how often and what you get, but in general you get a lot of boosters, like this really, really strong boosters, like experience boosters, magic find boosters and that kind of stuff for just 3 candy corn for a couple of minutes, for like 5 minutes or something like that. If you then like think about how much that actually costs, like 3 candy corn, that's like 1.5 silver. That's almost nothing, and you can get run around with boosters that you normally would purchase from a gem store, which is obviously quite expensive. Like, for example, experience booster, if you would go for those. Where are they here? They are 100 gems each. If you would go at the same time and want to get the same duration of boosters for 2 hours from the candy corn gobbler, that's probably like 2 gold or something. It's or not even like it's really cheap if you compare that. It's crazy. So that's the important part. That's why it's so really strong, this item, and I would definitely get it. Doesn't matter what kind of player you are. If you play a lot of PvE and farm like spirit shards or lean magic find to get more loot, then this is a good item because you can get those boosts. If you play PvP or World vs. World, you can get better reward track gain or more experience so that you level up faster there in this game mode. It's crazy. It's always good. It's such a good item, yeah. Just reached level 80 on my Spear Engineer. Will I be able to do POF content without having full exotic gear? Yes, you will be able to do so. Sometimes it might be a little bit hard because full exotic is quite easy to get, and that's typically what most players have at some point as well. But you can do this, I guess. 1 second. But yeah, I would say it's doable, but you should get exotic gear as fast as possible. It's quite strong and quite easy to get. And in the long run, you should be able to get exotic very fast, and then you can clear everything with exotic in the game except high-level fractals. But that's it. So I would say try it, maybe find some friends, maybe ask on some help on the map, and then you will be able to clear almost anything in the map because you have some people joining you and you can do it. But if you're running around like alone and you only have like green gear and some weird rare pieces or something, that can be very challenging if you don't have the knowledge to actually kill the bosses and stuff very fast. But yeah, I would say it's definitely doable, yeah. But yeah, if you have any other questions, let me know. I'm always happy to help, especially if you're a new player. We want to get more new players in the game, so just ask. Just ask. Look, my poor gold got down like 400 gold almost. That's crazy. That's very sad. Very, very sad. But what can you do? What can you do? That's how it goes, I guess. Let's open a few of those and salvage them so that we get more inventory space, and now we can finally... That's how we like it. Very good. Look at that. Only the Rune Crafters is now there. That's the only item that we need now. Very good. Welcome, Raphael. Welcome, welcome. Any tips to get more Tyrian Mastery points? I find it so hard to get them. Oh yeah, I noticed that this on this account here as well. It's quite hard, quite annoying to get them. So I will get them at some point. Not today in this stream, like not absolutely focus on that. I will want to do some fractals in this stream. But I will at some point do a really like dedicated stream where I grind all the Tyrian Mastery points. Probably quite soon, probably next week. And there are so many annoying ones. I would say the ones that are somewhat okay to do. For example, like the challenges for fractals, like here killing all the chickens, which are wild enemies, while you're in the urban battleground fractal. That takes like 5 minutes and you will be done. So that's an easy one. Then you can dance with the Aetherblade hologram dancers. That's very easy. That takes like 5 seconds and you get it. So stuff like that is very easy. I will later get the Kaka Queen, hopefully, if I don't forget. That's like a lot of achievement points and a very free mastery point on top of that, just by logging in at the correct time and the correct place. So really easy. You can use the event timer for that in Guild Wars 2 Wiki. And then we have the Triple Trouble, which is a little bit harder to get, but it's definitely easy as well in that regard because it's just a world boss. Those 4 are very easy. Then I said earlier, well, you can also go for a lot of the Silver Waste achievement. They are actually quite easy to get. So just killing specific mobs in Silver Waste, they give all the legendary mobs there. They also give mastery points. Can be a bit annoying to find them, but if you farm the map a little bit, you will get that. And then you have, of course, a lot of other things that you can just randomly get. They are not that easy to come by. And then the sad part begins. If you play a lot of story, you get a lot of them and you have no problem. But I did not play any core story, so I don't have any of those. So that's a little bit annoying. But if you play some story in core Tyria, you get actually some mastery points on top of that. Which is obviously, you don't need that many, yeah? So legendary crafting is something that you can, for the most part, skip until you like want to craft the legendary Chain 3 or Chain 2, which is, or Chain 3 you can even purchase from the TP without having that. So that's not very, very unimportant. Fractal attunement to level 3 is quite important. And Pack Commander to the maximum, which I will get at some point if I have 3 more. It's quite important, yeah. What is the easiest boon build for the Halloween event? It's definitely Herald. The achievement ones like bosses and collections are really annoying. Yeah, exactly. I think it's for me, it's like those core masteries are probably the hardest to unlock because they are somewhat gated behind stuff that I normally don't do. And most players would also not grind like crazy. And you don't have that many like easy accessible ones. You know, Secrets of the Obscure, I didn't even try and I have like 10 already. And that's like, some of them gain a lot of them very fast. Some of them are really annoying to get. Yeah, that's just how it goes. Do we get 1 mastery point per worm in triple trouble? Yes. And 1 for killing it in general. So you can get 4 of those, which is quite good, of course. But it's still, of course, not enough for getting all the mastery unlocks. But it's helping. But of course, you have to go to every single mob of those worm heads or whatever. So you cannot get the achievement in one try if you are not taking all of them at the end when they are dying. So it's a little bit like cheesy to get all of them at once, but it's, I think, possible. We will try it maybe at some point. Yeah. Really, Dominic, that's crazy. I tried it once, triple trouble, during the fractal event, and it was instant kill. We had no problems at all. So I think it depends a bit if you're lucky or not, but triple trouble worm is definitely the hardest world boss, I would say, nowadays. It's by far the hardest world boss. It's not a challenge in that regard if you have a decently organized squad. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's harder than any other world boss because there you actually have to some extent understand what you're doing. Yeah. Since a lot of viewers could use those masteries too, maybe I'd do a session with people. Yes, that's what my plan is. I might go for some organizing with people together. Yes, exactly. Is there a specking guild was 2 whose rotation requires a lot of decision making, like a priority list? Many rotations I've been played so far are often based on a very monotonous maxim of casting as many skills. So currently there are some specs that are like that, but not a lot of them because it's very deterministic oftentimes, yeah? So a lot of times you have a very deterministic rotation because why would you change up the rotation? What would be the reason to say, okay, this is something that you have to have a different priority now, specifically? So it's more like either the boss fight requires you to change stuff and then you have a very interesting change in the rotation because you delay your CC skill or something like that. But there is one spec coming up with the next expansion, which is called the Antiquary for Thief, which is by its nature not deterministic, and therefore it might be the spec for you because there you have a priority list. You will not be able to have a clear rotation because there is some RNG in the spec. So Antiquary will definitely fit your mindset there. I personally think that, for example, Scrapper has some kind of like that as well in the kit, but most specs have some kind of like clear rotation that you always follow. Yeah. I would say also Condition or Power Willbender. They are also very spammy because they get resets on their weapon and their skills in general, because if they hit an attack, they will get a reset with their virtues and then you do that again. The same goes for Luminary when it comes out. So you actually have quite an interesting concept of those because they cannot be like deterministic in that regard. So I guess you can also like try those, yeah, if you like them. I need only 3 more points from Tyr. Did Amber the other day? Yeah, then I guess then you can have 2 more. That's good. From the worm. Very good, very good. Yeah, the core tiers take a long time. I'm very happy when I have them as well. So congrats to you that you did it already. Very good, very good. How's raid LFG? Does some leave after many failures from your experience? I would say in raids, people are a little bit more patient. In strike missions, they leave after 1 or 2 tries typically because they are considered very easy. If you are playing raid fights, typically I would say people, at least when they are pucking, are a little bit more patient, at least in my experience. But it's still depending on what kind of boss. So if you fail like 3 times on Merced Overseer normal mode, which is considered one of the easiest, if not the easiest boss, then I guess people will leave very fast. What is going on? Why did we lose 4 people? What? Classic Bone Skinner. What is this? That's again something where I would say, if people die here instantly, 4 people, that's like, if you do that 2 times, then people will leave because it's so easy normally, this boss. Can I get this res? I will try. Okay, we did it, but I'm not happy. I'm not happy about this, to be honest. That will probably not be a gold fight now anymore because we have only 2 minutes to kill the boss. Yeah, I mean, that's a reset. We lost half of the squad already. Oh my god, what is this? And we only have the healers left. That's also not very good. The problem is the pure communication. Players use text on the lane, but not communicate at all. Yeah, I think communication is very important in an open world. That's not very common that people actually communicate, and that's a problem, yeah. And how can you change that? I guess if you do it. I guess if you do it yourself, if you organize it, but that's obviously a lot of effort to put in. Joined a group in Mad King yesterday. Leader was moaning at a few people. Think he must have had some DPS meter or something, supposed to be fun. I don't know. I think if people like in the Mad King's Labyrinth are like toxic to others, I mean, that's not nice. In general, I think toxicity in games is not good. But if you are toxic in very easy content, that's even worse, in my opinion. That's even worse. Because it's like, why are people dying here? Come on, guys. I think they have to turn on the monitor. Do you see what is going on? That's insane. Oh, the Bone Skinner experience. Oh, guys. It's really not that hard. You know, there is this attack happening and you sidestep it. It's okay, it's okay. You have to learn at some point. But those guys are like consistently getting hit by it. Like always, every single time, 3 times in a row. That's why they are dead. I can't heal you through that. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane to me. Look, there's so big bright yellow AoEs there, or orange ones. You can easily sidestep them. I'm not a Grand Chest Master. Yeah, I guess the Overseer is hard for some people as well, yeah. Oh, I'm not sure if a voice chat in the game would actually improve the situation. I know a lot of games that have voice chat in the game and people don't use it. Or if they use it, it's only for toxicity. I really think that's a big problem, that voice chats in games are more often abused than they're actually used for stuff that is actually useful, because most people that actually want to have a voice chat actually use it already, like Discord or in the old days TeamSpeak or something like that. So I would say yes, it would improve if people would use it for the correct thing, but I'm not sure if people would do that, or if people will always like be toxic and not are willing to change into voice chats and stuff. I'm not sure what is going on here. It's painful to watch those players. Very painful. I mean, you can go as DPS, yes. I mean, there is no like problem to go in as any player. You can play full heal, full DPS, whatever you want. Yeah, that is true. So I have to concentrate after, because like slowly we are running out of like players, and my healing is also quite stressed here. I will catch up and check after this boss, okay? So this is also an attack that is so easily telegraphed. I don't get why people like just standing there and hoping the boss does not hit them, because it's like it's running into your direction. Hello? Hello? I think some of the people don't have the monitors turned on. I'm pretty sure about that. So please, we almost got it. Very good. It's so fun to watch, to be honest. I would never play a Bone Skinner that is perfectly executed above this one. Like, look at this. That's chaotic. It's really good, and we still got the gold reward. Close, but we got it. That was fun. It's always it's such a safari if you go into Bone Skinner, and I do it almost every day, and it's always like you never know what you get. It's crazy. No, feedback on Bone Skinner is like overrated. I mentioned that in almost every stream. It's people don't understand what is the damage that you get. You could see I easily healed here even without feedback. Why is that? Because I have enough healing here. Yes, you can take feedback to reduce the damage by like 2%. If that's the 2% that wipes you, sure, go for feedback. But I personally think bringing more CC, bringing more healing with those utilities set up is definitely way better. Why is that? Because the healing that you need is typically to counteract the aura tick, so that you just get a lot of damage passively that you cannot avoid, not even by invulnerability skills. So that means that in general, feedback is not protecting you from that. It's only protecting you from the projectiles from the ads, and the ads are quite weak. They don't deal that much damage. The aura tick does like 10 times the amount of damage. So in most situations, it's better to just get more healing skills than getting feedback. I hope that makes sense. Welcome, German. Returning player after a long while before Heart of Thorns. Your videos helped me a lot finding what I want to play now. That's good. Good to hear. And if you have any other questions, just let me know. We need more fresh blood or returning blood. So welcome back to the game. Hope you enjoyed. Proximity voice chat in Lion's Art. I think in general, proximity voice chat would be so fun, you know, and it should be by default turned on and people should not be notified about it. So that it would be really fun. Of course, I'm joking. But I would hear so many people flaming the frog in Verdenbrink. That would be so fun to watch how many people will be really toxic about it. Oh my god, I died to it the 10th time. It would be very fun to watch. This boss has obviously very easy mechanics, but probably one of the most punishing as well. Yeah, it's a weird combination for sure, but I think we need more bosses like that. Because those bosses are actually teaching players to open their eyes and not only tank everything. I'm not joking. I think most bosses, especially like for example those bears here, they would have punishing mechanics, but you can ignore all of them if you have a healer that provides stability or something like that, for example. If you are in Bone Skinner, you can have the best healer in the world. They will not be able to out-heal the damage that you get from the hands if you like just for whatever reason, like tanking them all the time. So you get to actually understand it's your mistake. You did the mistake. You died here because you stood in the AoE. And I think we need more bosses like that so that people actually slowly improve at the game and not just always get carried by the healers. I think that might be a very like try-hard take, but I think Guild Wars 2 would in the end, or people would have more fun playing this game if they would try to actually improve and not get hit by everything and I wouldn't care. Yeah, sorry Carlos, was too fast. Yeah, next time. And we do some fractal runs after that, maybe you want to join then. Is the Candycorn Gobbler a must-have? I would say for 99% of the players, yes, because it's such a good item. I just bought it here as well, because it gives you the really good stuff, like really, really good stuff. Is it account bond then? Yeah. So it gives you stuff that you would normally like pay gems for, and that's insane. If you for way cheaper then. So you can get, for example, experience boost, magic find boost for almost free, and you can get more experience and spirit shards and on all game modes. Actually, it's very useful. Reward track progress. It's so good. You should definitely like consider buying it. If you don't have any money to spare in the game, sure, maybe not. But if you want to like at some point have the most value that you get for your playtime with boosters and stuff, and want to get the most farming going for this cheap for 240 gems, you have to buy it. It's so good. I'd actually like to get into raids, but I'm a bit confused with which strikes Heart of Thorns raids. So I would say there are friendly communities like in the raid training Discord, raid training initiative, or Crossroads Inn. You can go to those Discords and they have very nice training raids there set up. And I would start with Heart of Thorns raid, and you can also start with strike missions. Strike missions are even easier than Heart of Thorns raids, but even the Heart of Thorns raids are not that hard, so you can easily do that. It should be an enemy attack. If you fail to break the bar, and that would be very interesting. Yes, that would be very interesting, Snowdrop. Yeah, I think it depends. I would say if you are a player that just plays for fun and doesn't care about efficiency, then the Candycorn Gobbler is not a must-buy. But if you at least to some extent want to have the most efficient playtime, especially if you play World vs. World in PvP, then you have to get the Gobbler. If you're farming a lot of spirit shards and that kind of stuff, you need to get the Gobbler. If you want to get the most amount of loot for magic finance stuff, you need to get the Gobbler. So there are many, many reasons to get the Gobbler. But of course, if you say, I am not playing as efficient as possible, I just want to have fun, then it's not an item that you need to get. That is true. That is true. I mean, it's like 20 silver or something for getting a, I don't know, half an hour experience buff, which is not that much, to be honest. It's really not bad. You get a lot of experience buffs very fast for almost no Candycorn spent. It's really good. Thanks a lot, Flurk. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for the tier 1. Thanks for the support. Hope you enjoy the stream. What fractal tier are you running? After this, I will run fractal tier 3. So I'm already in tier 3, which is quite nice. Let's see how long I will stay there, because that's always considered like one of the most hardest and annoying to carry things in fractals in general. So we will see how long I have to stay there, how long I will stay there. We will see. I tried to buy the Ice Blue Saga when it was on discount, but couldn't. That's interesting. I'm not sure. Maybe you already have it? Welcome, Stefan. Welcome, welcome. This is a strike mission, what we're currently doing. That is correct. Yeah, it's exactly. It's like just a single boss. Strike missions are a single boss encounter and nothing more, nothing less. No mobs in between. So, what is the purpose of the Candy Corn Gobbler? Is it not only useful for Candy Corn during the Halloween? No, you can purchase the Candy Corn the whole year. And that means that you can be able to get the boosters the whole year. That's why it's so good. But yeah, that's what I would say is the value there. Thanks for the videos. Watched a lot of them. Here's a little support. That's good. Good to know. Yeah, glad you enjoy the videos. More to come. More to come. Yeah, tier 3 will be very fun to watch. I will maybe not even only go for the dailies today, but also more so that we can actually push the fractal level and stuff like that, because I really want to get as fast as possible to tier 4. Because tier 4 is obviously giving you the best rewards and to some extent also better players in the packs. So I want to get through tier 3 as fast as possible. That's the... Let's see if we can make that happen, or if we need to stay here for even longer than I anticipate. Who do you think have more fun builds, Warrior or Guardian? It depends a bit what you consider fun. I would say if you like flexibility, then Guardian is more fun. If you like very straightforward, not flashy animations, then Warrior is more fun. If you are someone that wants to have a very spammy build, then you can go for both of them, because both of them have very a lot of attacks that you can use. There are so many elite specs nowadays. I think it's really hard to say one spec is, or one class specifically is more fun than another, because it is for me highly dependent on the spec and even on the build that you're playing. So I would say both have their arguments why they are good. Both have their arguments why they are somewhat boring to some extent, depending on what kind of player you are. I personally like Guardian a little bit more because I'm somewhat of a magic enjoyer. And I like to have a bit more flexibility. Warrior is a little bit locked in the role of being somewhat of a brute force player and playstyle, which is not bad if you enjoy that, but I personally would rather have more flexibility using magic. That's typically why I would put Guardian a little bit higher. Not necessarily, I play Warrior as well, just saying for me personally it's probably a slightly better pick. What's like the optimal amount of shared inventory slots in your opinion? I've got 10 for Copper Silver Fed, Runecrafter, 1 Pass, Wizard's Portal Tome, Teleport to Friend, and all 3 unidentified gear and Position Rewinder. I mean, the optimal amount is the minimal amount that you require for your account. So that's a very theoretical answer, but if you currently have 10 items that you really need to have in your shared inventory, then you need 10. You should not go for 11, because then it wastes 1 slot, so to say. I, on my main account, have the mindset of I want to get every single account upgrade, like a material storage, bank slot increase, stuff like that, and the shared inventory slot to the maximum, even if I don't use it. That is just because I have so much gold there, and that's what I do. On this account here, you see I have 4, and all of those came from the expansion purchases. So I would say if the lower amount, the better, because it is just money or gold that you don't need to spend if you don't want to need it. I would say between 5 and 10 is typically what most players need, because there are some players that don't have all the, for example, salvage kits or something, then you have less. I personally would say as soon as you have more than 10, you should definitely know what you're doing, because you could probably save some money by just not having that many, because it's not always necessary. But I would say 5 or so is probably a very good bet. Like having, for example, the Candy Corn Gobbler, or Runecrafter or something like that in there is probably always a good choice. At least I would say, yeah. Wait, do we need that? I think we need it maybe to craft something. But yeah, that's my recommendation. So I would say anything between 5 and 10 is probably almost a must for some dedicated players. More than 10, more than 15 even, only if you really need that. If it's really absolutely necessary. But go for the least amount as possible, I would say. Can you add me for fractals? And depending if you have the fractals to the agony resistance to like at above 100, yes, I will add you. If you don't have that, I cannot add you. I don't want to add you because you will die instantly. I can't resurrect you and heal you through the agony resistance. That's just impossible. So if you have the agony resistance at 100 or above, you can join, of course. If not, sadly not today. Yeah, it's hard to choose. It's hard to choose a class in Guild Wars 2, but I think I always mention it here. If you want to choose a class in Guild Wars 2, choose the class that you like the look of, because there is always a viable build, always a build probably that you will like. Just choose the one that you like the look of, the class fantasy. And even if you don't like it, you can easily swap to another class. Guild Wars 2 is very alt friendly, so just try it out, the class. If you don't like it, go for another one. That's my big recommendation there. There we go. Slowly also get a little bit more gold back. That's good. I'm always a little bit stressed if my gold is almost 0. That's not good. So that's at least we can get some gold back. Spent so much gold on the gem store items. That's actually quite painful. I spent all my gold now on the gem store items instead of the legendary that I crafted a week ago or a little bit more. So it's quite funny to see that the legendary was cheaper than the gem store items to get. It's crazy. But yeah, K4 for NA. Let me know if you have enough agony resistance and I can invite you after this strike mission here. Or Dragonstorm, however it's called. It's not a strike mission, I guess. I'm also very excited about the upcoming merge of the raids and strike missions. I'm really excited about this, how this will turn out, if players will like it, if it is very, very well executed, if it's really changing the atmosphere of people playing it, and people say, oh, I've never got into raiding, but now that they merged it, I'm playing it a lot. We will see. It will be very interesting, for sure. I cannot wait to get more information on that, and hopefully also some showcase maybe or something like that. Will be interesting, for sure. But yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. Always happy to answer questions here. And if you have any feedback, I'm also very appreciating any feedback that you can provide. So just wanted to have that set here. Okay. What are the dailies today in Fractals? It will be exciting to see. Some of them might be quite challenging. Okay, my open boss is not a problem. Captain Matrin, okay, I guess not. Shadow was obviously in tier 3. Ooh. I guess that will be spicy. Shattered Observatory in tier 3. Oh, I made the tier 4 ones. It doesn't matter. But yeah, that will be exciting to see how long we will need to get the Shattered Observatory cleared in tier 3. That is exciting. Because it's one of the slower paced fractals that are also more punishing. So hopefully we can do most of the mechanics as the healer, but I would expect that oftentimes players don't know exactly what to do. We will see. Welcome, Nevermay. All the best with giving full-time content creation a go. Yes, thanks. Really appreciate that. I hope it works out well. Yeah. I really appreciate your breakdown on learning a rotation video. That's good. More to come. And you might have noticed that my newer videos, so especially, for example, the Soul Beast guide that I put out yesterday, and I have some upcoming ones for the next week as well, and actually, I think this week as well, I put a lot more effort into making the videos, the build guides, more understandable and to follow, and giving a lot of more gameplay while also providing the same information and making it concise. So you might have noticed that going full time on content creation might not increase the output of videos that I put out, but the quality should definitely increase. That's my effort there. I put way more hours into one video than I did before. So hopefully you noticed it. Yeah. Love more of those videos. I'm really struggling with hitting 40k or plus benchmarks, often sitting around 85 to 90%. Yeah, I mean, the ping is obviously not helping. If you have 200 ping, that's obviously not a helping factor for sure. But I would say a lot of times watching someone that did it perfectly, like watching a Snow Crow Sky or someone doing it, and following the rotation step by step and just being patient can help a lot. I think reaching 85 to 90% benchmark, if you can get it already, it's in my opinion already like a very, very big step. Not a lot of players actually reach those numbers already. But of course, if you want to get to 100%, that takes a while. That takes a while. Depending on the build, it can take like hours. Yeah, a lot of hours, dozens of hours to get there. So I think on my main account, if I play perfectly, I can play like, I would say like 3 builds or something to 100%. So I'm not perfectly at executing all those rotation. Yeah. I crafted my first legendary, the Bifrost, 2 weeks ago and sell it immediately to buy another legendary, but still no buyer. Should I cancel it and use it? I would say if you like the skin of the staff, I think it's definitely worthwhile using, because staff is a weapon that can be used on a lot of classes, like you already mentioned, Mesmer, Elementalist, Guardian. Even the Thief can use it. So I think, yes, I think staff is a very... Oh my god, that was crazy. Staff is a very good weapon to have the legendary for. It's not necessarily the most flexible. Spear is more flexible, and sword, for example, but staff would be probably like my 3rd pick. If I had to choose, I guess, something like that. So I would say, yes, I would say cancel it and use it yourself. I think that might be a smart way to do it, yeah. Of course, if you really dislike the skin, or if you never play staff at all on those classes, then maybe just relist it. But I would say better use it, to be honest. I think at least if I would have the choice, I would probably use it, yeah. Shadow Observatory in Tier 3 is an absolute mess. Yeah, it will be fun. You will be here to watch it. I will do it today. I can tell you. I will do it, and hopefully it will not take 2 hours, but I'm up for it either way. I will be there and doing it. Exactly. That's my goal there, Diomedes. That's my goal. I want to make good content, and if I can, I will try to make as much, of course, in many videos as I can, but it's not... I cannot guarantee a video a day. If I put a lot of effort into each video, I will try, but I can't guarantee it. Is it fine to just farm in Mad King's Labyrinth if gold is priority? Yes, of course. Absolutely. Why not? Like, farming in Mad King's Labyrinth is like very easy to access. You don't even need to be level 80, and it's very, very straightforward to do. You don't need to be an expansion player. It's really easy to get done, and it might not be the most exciting farm. That much is probably for sure, but it's also not a bad farm, and you get quite a decent chunk of gold. So I would say, sure, do that for gold. Absolutely. You also get a lot of experience there, especially with the boosters that I mentioned, with the Candy Corn Gobbler, for example. Would you prioritize legendary rune stitches over weapons if I have armor and trinkets already? Glad you enjoy my contest, Mantus. It's hard to say, to be honest. I would say personally, for me, yes. For me personally, on a character, on a class, it's hard to say. For example, on this account here, absolutely. I play only one class, and I don't need to have like 10 different weapons that I have the legendaries of. So I would say legendary runes, legendary sigils is definitely better than the weapon itself. Yeah, I would say so. But if you are someone that plays like 10 different characters and plays like 10 different weapons on each of them, and you really like the fashion aspect of the game, I think a weapon can have higher priority. But for me personally, I would say, yes, I would say sigils and specifically runes probably might have higher priority. Yeah, I agree. Always happy to help, always happy to help. What's the selection wheel you're using? That's from a legal add-on. It's called Blishhut. I have a guide about how to set it up. You can just scroll down on YouTube, and there is a link to my guide spreadsheet. It's called Blishhut, this one here. And I have a mount wheel, and that's what I'm doing here. On YouTube, there is like a link to the spreadsheet where all the guides are, and one of them is the Blishhut guide. It's called Blishhut, like you can see here, Blishhut. And that should give you all the information you need to set it up yourself. It's legal, it's completely fine, it's just an overlay. There we go. Strike mission's done. Not bad. Should I open the candy bags or sell them directly to OTP? I would sell it. I would sell it. I think it's like you're wasting some time, and you will probably not get any big drops. Of course, if you're feeling lucky, you can open it, but I would say it's faster to sell them and you get the same amount of gold if you're not lucky. Yeah. I think you should be careful about releasing too many videos. If you upload too often, people won't watch as many. Yeah, the thing is, my channel is on YouTube. I'm focused on Guild Wars 2 content, yeah, obviously. But the thing is, I make content for all types of players. So I often release a video that is for a specific type of player, and the same type of video comes out like 1, maybe 2 weeks after that. So for example, if I do a PvP video and I only like make videos for PvP every 2 weeks, then a player that only watches PvP will get content out of my channel every 2 weeks, which is not bad, but it's obviously not good either. So I really like to make content for every different type of player and in a like really frequent rhythm. That's the thing there. But yeah, I can understand that argument for sure. So what do we do next? Let's see. Tier 3 fractals, maybe, if someone is there. I think the mood was also a contender because it would sell for more, but I don't like maces. I think maces for me, I don't like maces. I think maces, especially the mood, doesn't look that good for me. But some builds use maces, but there are not that many that use maces nowadays. A warrior can use an offhand mace. Ranger can use a mace. Genji could use a mace, but doesn't use it in most PvE builds. Guardian doesn't use mace in most PvE builds. Revenant uses mace in a Condi build, that is true. And that's it. We don't have any light armor class that uses maces, so mace is not a very like common weapon nowadays. It's more common than in the beginning of the game, but it's still not very common. Dailies plus Rex. That sounds like absolutely what we want. That sounds exactly what we want. Will be exciting. So will we get it done in 1 hour? Probably. So K44, if you want to join now, you can join now. If you have enough agony resistance, you can join our group here. We are currently looking for it. Nice, Verko is joining. Very good. There we go. Yeah, exactly. That's my idea. Not every single player watches every video, and therefore I will try to make videos that are somewhat interesting to a larger audience, of course, but I also know that a lot of videos, for example, a good example is that I put out a video, you might have seen it, every week or something about going very in-depth about a specific class, talking about the traits or weapon or something like that for 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, yeah? And most people don't watch that because that's way too dry, way too theory craft heavy and stuff like that. But there are a small fraction of my viewers that really enjoy those videos, that really like to talk about every single class and maybe get some information that they have not known before, or just talked with me about which trait should get a total rework or something like that. So this is a very, very niche video, and I know not a lot of people will watch it, but I still put it out because I know the people that watch it really enjoy it. And that's what my channel is all about. I want to make videos for people that actually enjoy the specific video. I know there will be like probably a lot of players and viewers watching my channel and seeing like half of the videos that are not interesting to them, which is completely fine. But if they watch some videos and they like them, I'm happy. Ooh, we are going really hard with the food. Crazy. I don't have enough gold to list it on TP. Yeah, that's not good. That's why I think selling legendaries is always something that can be quite painful to do, to be honest. Quite painful. I did it on my main account like a couple of times. Most of the time I use the overflow Discord if you want to do some big tickets listing and selling stuff. But I don't like that because of that. I think it's like the taxes can be very, very painful. I finally found you on Twitch. I'm never able to when you stream. I'm loving your low intensity builds on YouTube. The Sword Berserk is actually super fun. Very nice, very nice. There are so many low intensity builds that I want to make a video about. I just released one yesterday about Soul Beast, and I will come out with hopefully one more every week. That's a tough choice because obviously, like I said, build guides nowadays for me are a lot of effort that I put into the editing and stuff like that. You might have seen that. And I will try to come out with more low intensity builds, but the best ones I think are already covered for the most part. But I'm very happy that you enjoyed them. More to come for sure. Welcome, Ash. Welcome, welcome. Do you do all this story map completion again on your alt? No, no, no. Don't worry. The map completion I did, the main core tier map, but I did not do the story at all. Like, not at all, because I'm not a story enjoyer. I think story is, like, for me, something that is a necessary evil if I want to get some kind of unlocks, but I will not do the story again. That's not something that I particularly enjoy. Yeah. Welcome, Caffeinated Dad. Welcome, Caffeinated Cake. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing fine. But yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. So, very good. So this is 68, so we are actually not that bad. 68, I think we have a decent chunk of good players here, I have to be honest. We have Ferko here, that's probably better than the average tier 3 player. But we have actually quite experienced players. You can see they all have the agony resistance already at the maximum, almost. Or not the maximum, but at 150. So I'm not completely sure if this is the average tier 3 experience, so I'm really sorry. I was just like listing the thing, so everyone can do that. It's your first time here. I mean, then it's good. Yeah, but I'm just saying, you know, it's like, I don't care who joins. I'm just saying, for me, obviously as a streamer, I might have a different experience than players that play it for their first time alone. That might be true, but don't forget, it does not really matter because you can still play the same build that I'm playing. You can still get the same carry potential that I have. You just try to follow along or whatever and understand the fight, and you will get there and will increase it. Yeah. My immersion is ruined. I'm so sorry. Paid actors, yeah. So you can teleport through the ceiling there. That's just one of the few steps, one of the few tricks and skips that you can do as a mesmer in general, or like a thief or whatever. And this is just like one of the very, very easy ones to do, because then you just save some time. And it goes for a lot of different fractals that you can save time by just using teleports and portals and whatnot. We will also see the next part here. If we have players with portals here, you can actually skip that in like 2 minutes or not even. Get all the hits done, or 1 minute, because you teleport between the seals with the portals. You will see that in a second when I put them down and not mess it up. I have a question that's a bit more long. Is there an add-on to track what I need for a specific gift? I think there is. I'm pretty sure there is, yeah. So let's see if the portal goes away. Wait, here, my portal. Guys. I portaled them. And then they ignored it and I died because I was writing in chat. A classic. Oh, so sad. Oh, so sad. Now I have to portal again. It's fine. Do we have a portal here again or not? Yeah, I have a portal. So sad. Yeah, communication is off in this absolutely not like paid actor group. Communication is a little bit off. There we go. Oh, that was so close. That was close, but we did it. Very nice. Classic. That's how you do it in tier 3. Like, very classic tier 3 experience here. Legendary one was. Thanks, Deomedes, for sharing. Exactly. So you can teleport to all those wooden structures here, which is obviously really crazy to get skips going. And you can also cleanse here, and it's really easy to do. Very nice. And take some more here and some, I guess, I don't even know. There we go. I only play one character, and absolutely long-term goal is to fill our back slot with 32 slot backs. Yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a while. It is a very, very... we will just do it, like foreman this. Yeah, but it was too, especially getting higher back slots. It's quite a challenge. I'm a back slot enjoyer on my main account, and I obviously don't have that for all my characters, but that's a long-term goal of mine as well to have that for all my characters. So I would say it's a goal. It's a big goal for sure. I can understand that though. There we go. Now we get the actual tier 3 experience. Exactly. Like when the streamer is like falling in the tier 3 category as well. Exactly. Well, one thing that came to mind, do you need to be in Photon Forge mode as a Holosmith for your ultimate and the utility to count as heated, or does it work if you're above the heat threshold? Yeah, it does count if you're not in the Holoforge form. It does count. Nice CC, very good from my F3 with 3 clones. Insta breaking it, very good. For build videos, I like the cheap food alternatives. What I'd like more are perhaps reflections. You find the build tricky or easy to slip up, even if perfectly authenticity is useful. Yeah, I think that's a good tip. I will try to like put that in there as well, how easy it is to pick up and stuff like that. I think that might be helpful for a lot of players. I think that's a very good tip. I think I nowadays always put a cheap food alternative in there. I think there is not a single video that I do that is not having a cheap food alternative. And I also try to put in now like runes and relics alternatives for players that don't have specific expansion or don't have the access to the Trapper runes, for example. I really try to put that in because I know a lot of people always ask that question, and if I already know that the question will come up, then I will also try to make, of course, that answered in the video directly. Yeah, good point. I'm going to watch your keybind guide. Do you have a movement guide at all? So my keybind settings guide is somewhat having a part in a section in there that is specifically about movement keybinds. So one example would be on Elementalist that you can, for example, use Burning Retreat forward because you have a good about face keybind setup and stuff like that. But for a new player, it might be worth watching the settings guide, and then if you have more questions, maybe I can push out another video. But I think most questions should be answered in there. I really would not expect that there is something that is like movement related that you will not be able to get in the settings guide. If you want to play support in both World vs. World and Fractals, but you can only afford one setup for gear, should you go Priority or Minstrel? Definitely Minstrel. Absolutely Minstrel. In World vs. World, Harrier gear is a troll because you will die very fast. Yes, you have healing power, but you have no survivability. So always go Harrier. Never go Harrier if you play World vs. World as well. Minstrel is the way to go. And Minstrel is in 90% of the Fractals also the very safe option as well. There is only 1 or 2 Fractals where like Minstrel is a bad choice, and all of those are CMs, so challenge modes. So it does not really matter. It does not matter to go for full Minstrel. And full Minstrel is probably, if you want to carry people, even the better choice because it will also make you more durable, and therefore you're more likely to actually survive and heal your party. Even if you misplay, for example. If you play full Harriers, you are quite squishy. And this squishiness that you are having can also kill you, even if you're playing like very well. If you just get one-shot by attacks, which you wouldn't have get one-shot. Yeah, classic LOSing here in tier 3. Very common to see. I like it. I mean, it's a good showcase how you can easily do tier 3 fractals. You just need to have some... There we go. We get some... I might have gotten some nice blocks from my allies as well. Very good. Yeah, see you. Enjoy the video. We might have a video on this, but have you ever shared the appeal of horizontal progression? Yes, I made a video about this, why I think Guild Wars 2 is so... Why this is the biggest boon and the biggest downfall of Guild Wars 2. That you are not able to have like getting bigger gear increases and stuff like this. Because Guild Wars 2 has, in my opinion, one of the best ways to keep you interested in the game. However, for some players that don't like this kind of playstyle, they also have the biggest like, what should I do moment as soon as they got the best in slot gear. So I think Guild Wars 2 horizontal progression is amazing. I have a video about this, and I think it's like, I cannot like emphasize that enough or stress it enough, because it's just so good. Guild Wars 2 has really good progression or like fun interactive system how you can continue playing the game. But it's not for everyone. And that's something that I really have to mention here. It's not for everyone. Some people just want to have the carrot to chase. In Guild Wars 2, it's really hard if you do not set yourself your own goals to find a carrot that you can chase. Because there isn't, as soon as you have Ascended gear, there is absolutely no interesting thing to go for in terms of stat upgrades. It's just not existing. That's definitely something to consider, yeah? And it's a boon and a curse at the same time. Yeah, Mystic Crafting, thanks, very good. Yeah, it's so good. There are so many good add-ons right now in Guild Wars 2 that you can use to actually just get more value for your time. And they are completely legal as well. Absolutely, very good. Nice. You're pushing, that's good. Pushing. Fractal level 47. We're making some progress. And this is obviously a really nice group. Very good. Very good. And if I would use all the boosters, yeah, so I just want to mention that here, like with the Canicon Goblin and stuff like that, I could easily triple my experience gain and get more spirit shards that way. I'm on this account, I'm not currently in the dire need of more spirit shards, but at some point, if I want to craft more legendaries and stuff, I will get into this need of getting more spirit shards. So definitely something that you need to consider, that if you need at some point in the future to need to farm for experience and stuff like that, it is definitely worthwhile purchasing the Canicon Gobbler. And that's why I did it here on this account, because I know I will go for multiple legendaries in the future that need a lot of spirit shards, for Mystic Clovers, for just Bloodstone shards, whatever. And all of that time I need to be able to get this as fast as possible, because I don't want... Oh my god. I forgot that I don't have the Agony on this 7 set. Yeah, boosted player. Yeah, that's why... I need more Ascended gear, you know, I cannot swap to my focus weapon set because they don't have the Agony there. Absolutely boosted. And we are currently at almost the maximum, that's why the thing. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, Agony is painful, it's painful. Now I have the perfect Agony maximum that I need here, but as soon as I swap, I lose 18 Agony resistance, which will instantly kill me if I get Agony in this fight. Have to remember, it's like the same thing with pressing F all the time for auto-looting, because I don't have auto-looting. I now have to also like remember to not weapon swap. Maybe I should unequip it in the fractals that are that high, just so that I can't weapon swap, grieving myself by not playing with any other weapon. Yeah, absolutely, I have to do that. I have to do that. Now I can't die anymore. By having less weapons. Yeah, smart, smart, smart. Yeah, that's the important part. Ascended weapons are quite hard to come by. It's not as easy as Ascended armor in terms of like the Wizard's Vault. The Wizard's Vault gives you half the armor, but it doesn't give you half the weapons if you don't have only two-handed weapons. So it's definitely something worth like thinking about, but I will get it at some point. That's why I'm farming strike missions, because I need more Blue Prophet shards, and the Blue Prophet shards help me to get more Ascended weapons in the future. Welcome, E. Welcome, welcome. Glad you enjoyed. Glad you enjoyed. But yeah, if you have any other questions, just let me know. Just ask. I will try to answer all of them. And if I by chance forget or don't see any of the questions, just ask again. I might just have like skipped it or whatever. Just ask again. I did not do it on like bad intention. So here that's the part where you need a healer. If your healer is good here, you can just ignore all the mechanics. If you have a bad healer or no healer at all, that can be a quite painful moment here in the beginning when you cannot damage my Trin at all. There we go. What type of stats you use now? I'm using Harrier gear mostly. Mostly Harrier gear, yeah. So power main stat, healing power, and concentration secondary stat. So that I have like a lot of healing power, a lot of concentration, and the power is not necessarily, but there is no better gear stat. You can go for Minstrel, you can go for Givers, but they are also not that easy to come by, so it doesn't really matter which ones I use. I'm just choosing Harrier for the most amount of like value. And you also do some damage then with it. It's not a lot, but a little bit, I guess. It can help. If you want to be safer, you can easily go for Minstrel. Or even Givers, whatever you like. Both of them are completely fine as well. I just think it's, if you want to be at some point going into in strike missions and specifically raids, typically Harrier gear is the way to do it, because there you might be the tank. What? Did me one-shot there. Did you see that? That's crazy. Tier 3 is too hard for me. Absolutely too hard. I think I did something didn't render here and I didn't dodge it. That's what it is. But yeah, in the end, it's really important that you. That's also quite painful, to be honest, if I get too much damage here. Yeah. So what I wanted to say is that Harrier gear is, so to say, best in slot if you don't want to be the tank in raids specifically. If you don't want to be the tank in raids, that means that you typically don't want to have any toughness. And as soon as you're going for Givers pieces or Minstrel pieces, you might want to be or will be considered the tank in strikes and specifically in raids with toughness-based tanking. So that's why I typically go for Harriers, because I don't want to always be the tank, because sometimes someone else is already the tank, then I don't want to be the tank. That's why I go for Harriers. But you can easily go for Minstrels in most situations. How you make your party and buffs look like that? Oh my god. So you can make your party look like that by going to the... Wait, you can also like... Where is it here? Maybe not in fight. I will show it after this, so otherwise I might die again. Do you think the skill roof of Bladezone is high? The skill ceiling is high in Bladezone, yes. I think it's... You have to know the encounters very well to play Bladezone to its fullest, because only then you can actually put out the damage in the correct like time frame. And if you play Bladezone like quite freshly and you don't understand when the encounter has specific windows where you can use your dragon trigger or stuff like that, you can just get punished very hard. You get a lot of damage, you might not land your dragon trigger, stuff like that. So I think Bladezone is one of the highest skill ceilings in the game. But if you like that kind of playstyle, it's a very, very like rewarding playstyle, I would say, because it gives you a lot of value if you actually know what you're doing and if you can land your dragon triggers consistently. Now, for future expansions, they focus on reworking specs. I agree. I absolutely agree. I think I will get to that in a second. Just want to show this with the simple party health bar. There is a setting here. Where is it? Groups, and then here's simple party UI. If I have it like that, then it's the normal one, and if you put that checkbox like checked, then it's like that. That's the simple party UI. That's what changes it. 73. Now it gets painful. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that one. Yeah, so I personally think that reworks are something that is very important. And they did it to some extent before. Like, for example, the Renegades reworked to some extent with the spirits. And to some extent they did other reworks in the past as well. But I think specs that are underused, or specs that are somewhat like niche because they have a problem in one game mode or another, they should get a look at, even if they are not the newest specs. So Conduit is, everyone agrees, has a problematic like design and needs to be improved. Yeah, but the problem is that I cannot pre-stack because I don't have the mastery. But okay, let's go. Let's go. For example, I like the reworks that they did in the past with, for example, Death Magic on Necromancer. It was a very bad trade line. It's still a very bad trade line with the exceptions of 3 traits. And those 3 traits are amazing. And you run it in competitive modes all the time. But those reworks are really good. If you have a trade line that gets some kind of elite spec mindset again, that is awesome. I hope we get more of this. I really do. Does that mean we will get it? I don't know if they have the effort and time to do that. I hope so, but I really don't know. I think Guild Wars 2 is right now in the balance decisions and spot. I have no clue how much effort they will put into specs that are already out, because they have so many specs nowadays to balance that as soon as they start putting effort into specs that are already existing, they have like a lot of them to cover, and I don't know if they want to only do that for the new ones, only do for none at all. I have no clue. I think like balancing is in my opinion only getting harder by the minute if they add more elite specs. Yeah. Do you think I'm wasting time on Guild Wars 2 if I'm not running the Labyrinth right now? No, the Labyrinth is not the best gold farm in the game. It's just people like it because it's very AFK and very like easy to do and very easy to get into, but it's definitely not like you're not wasting time by not playing it. Of course, if you like Labyrinth, sure, go for it. But if you say I rather play Fractals or I rather play PvP, I mean, then do that. It's like a game. You should not force yourself to do stuff that you don't like. Absolutely not. Yeah, if you like the Clock Tower, go for the Clock Tower, for example. I think that you should always do stuff in the games that you actually enjoy, and Guild Wars 2 is in that regard quite nicely balanced because it will always, to some extent, give you gold. Yes, there might be some things that are a little bit more like profitable for most players, but it doesn't make it more fun necessarily. So just play the stuff that you enjoy. Yeah. But reworking specs is not new content, so I don't see any doing it. I don't know. I think the balance team is not necessarily doing stuff that is like giving new content out. I think for a lot of veterans, the balance patches are one of the things, at least for me, that is the most exciting about the game. In a specific, like I would say, since the release of the expansion, there were two things that I was really excited about. So the last expansion, yeah. One of them was the quick play release, and the second one was the balance patches. And I think a lot of veterans would agree that balance patches change the game in an interesting way, and you come back to it and look at new classes that you didn't look at before. And I think that's good. And I hope they will do more of that and hopefully more in-depth reworks so that like veterans are interested in playing those specs then. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. I don't use simple party UI, so I can see if they use pots and potions and food. That is fair that you can do that. I guess you can. I just like it because it's very nice and tidy, and I can see instantly all the boons without having like all the buffs and stuff as well. I just like this tidiness, but I can understand that you don't use it. Especially if you're a fashion enthusiast, you can also see the images of the characters, I guess. That'd be cool. Core trade lines, introducing new mechanics or buttons to press. Exactly. I think, like, for example, that's why I always bring up Necromancer, because I think Necromancer is one of the best core trade lines. You have, for example, the Death Magic trade line, which gives you this new core mechanic for the specific trade line, which gives you just like stacks when you apply poison and stuff like that. And you get more toughness if you have the trait, you get more power and stuff like that. I think that's a really interesting addition because you took this trait line. That is, in my opinion, fun. And the same goes, for example, for traits that change how you use a specific weapon. So back in the old day, they removed traits like that. But back in the old day, we had traits that were somewhat focused towards giving a specific weapon just a weapon recharge reduction, yeah? Just a recharge reduction, nothing else. And they removed most of those they removed. But they added some weapons that are really interesting. So for example, the best example in my opinion is Necromancer's Scepter. That you have a weapon that is okay, but with the traits, it gets so giga buffed if you have the Scepter trait, because the Scepter 3 gets a new skill. It's just a new skill. It's really, really good. And you get more condition damage and condition duration. It's like so cool. I really like this trait. It's so fun to use this specific trait. And I don't know, I think if every single weapon for every single class had a really cool, interesting design like that, a trait like that would be amazing. Maybe I'm coping too much, but I think that would be awesome. Yeah, fun is profit, exactly. It's a game. Fun is profit, always. Welcome, Shayo. I'm new on Guild Wars 2, and can anyone tell me if the strike mission raid rewards are account bond or character bond? It's so the rewards themselves. So if you, for example, talk about the weekly gold and daily gold that you get from strike missions are account bond. Everything in Guild Wars 2 in that regard is account bond. There is not a single thing that is like, in terms of like, you can do fractals, for example, once on this character and then do it again on another character. It's always account bond. Guild Wars 2 is very, very account bound in that regard. There is almost nothing in terms of rewards that is specifically... do we skip? Yeah, we skip. Very nice. But yeah, it's Guild Wars 2 is very alt friendly in that regard. So if you like to play raids on a ranger, but you like to play fractals on your dragon hunter, you will always be able to do so. You cannot double up and say I'm playing raids on a ranger and then I will play raids on dragon hunter and you will get a different reward. That's not how it works. So I will catch up and check in a second. I just want to like make sure that we actually get the kill here. Everyone is doing it. That's like no one is trusting. No one is trusting. Okay, I guess I will just heal here then. Having played WoW and Final Fantasy with customizable UIs, yeah, I think customizable UIs for Guild Wars 2 would be a game changer, especially for new players. I would definitely say that. But I have to be like realistic here. And I think Guild Wars 2 has not become like any better in terms of customizable UI since the release of the game. So my realistic expectation there is that we will never get that. I think if they would be able to do so without too much effort, they would already have done that. I'm like almost 100% sure about that. So I think they should do it. I'm not saying they shouldn't. Just saying for me personally, it seems like quite unlikely that they will ever give us customizable UI like in Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft. That's just not apparently in their scope. I think they should. I absolutely think they should. But I think it's like the game is like over 12 years old, 13 years at this point, and it's like if they would be able to do that, they would have done that at some point. I really think so. It sounds to me like very, very unrealistic if they say, yeah, we could have done that, but we didn't see the value of it. I don't see that. Are you currently? Yes, the API has issues currently. So you cannot use, for example, efficiency correctly, or you cannot use Splishot which uses the API keys. That's just not feasible. Sadly, it's not working right now. Welcome, Davio. Do you happen to know if there's any skill or dodge in Guild Wars 2 that resets when you kill a mob? Yes. So, you mean specifically when you dodge? Yeah, I mean the Vindicator dodge resets when you have, for example, the Stamina Sigil. You have the F1 skill on Guardian if you have the Virtuous, the Radiant straight line. It has a 1 second internal cooldown, but it resets the F1 skill. So, for example, if you're on Willbender, you can use the Rushing Justice all the time. Stuff like that exists, yes. Maybe someone in chat has more examples of that, but it exists, yeah. Yeah, if you reach level 80, I would go for trying to get a Ascended Gear, maybe check out all the different game modes, check out World vs. World, PvP, check out strike missions, raids. You have an immense amount of activities to do if you reach level 80. Just check out all of them at least once, see if you like them, and then you can stick around or go to another one. Fractals are really good for that. Stuff like that. But masteries, so increasing your mastery level is something that I would also recommend. Stuff like that is definitely worthwhile. If I want to play a raid with another character for fun, does it impact your reward? No. So if you did, for example, Veil Guardian on your Guardian, and you want to do it on your Ranger again this week, you can easily do it, but you will almost get no reward. That's how it goes. So Guild Wars 2 is like, you get weekly rewards for raids, for example, and those are impossible to duplicate in that regard. You can only use it once per week. But if you want to like continue doing it on another week on a different character, you can do that, but it's only weekly gated. There's no possibility to get multiple characters rewards in that regard. Yes. Yes, you can, for example, bound dodge on Daredevil is also very good. You can play that as well. So there are a lot of dodges that can give you value when you dodge, and you have this Sigil of Stamina, for example, which gives you endurance, your endurance back when you kill an enemy with it, or in general kill an enemy. So that can be very worthwhile doing. But there are not that many skills that necessarily reset. It's more like the dodges you get back from the Stamina Sigil. But there are typically like F1 skill on Guardian is one of the rare examples, I would say. Okay. Yeah, they would need to rework the UI for that. I'm pretty sure, and that's quite unlikely to me that they will do that. I really think that this seems quite unlikely that they will completely rework the UI. I don't see that, to be honest. I don't see that. I hope they will, to some extent, that we have customizable UI. I really hope, but I don't expect it. What happens in the lab or elsewhere when I join a group and leave it and play with people without group but same instance or map? Nothing happens. You can do that. It's just like the group itself is, so to say, prioritizing itself to give boons and stuff like that. But if you are not willing to do that, or if you don't care, you can easily stay outside of the group and play on the same map. It's absolutely not necessary. Yeah, Guild Wars 2 is a little bit weird in that scenario. It's not an instance. You join just the instance via the group, but the group itself is not the instance. So that's how it works. I'm a big fan of your channel. Can you recommend best class to play in World vs. World? Which would also be good in PvE. I'm planning long term for one character build. Scrapper is probably one of the best picks right now, because you can play it very, very well in World vs. World, and it's extremely strong in PvE. So Engineer that would be. And other than that, I think Guardian is a good choice with Firebrand, for example. But there are so many different ones that you can pick. You just have to pick the one that you actually enjoy, and then I can give you a sub-spec, so an elite spec that is actually worthwhile picking. I personally would say Guardian, Elementalist is good, Engineer is good, Mesmer is good. I think I will probably, if I think about it long enough, probably come up with one build for each class that is good in PvE and World vs. World. So yeah, tell me which class you actually enjoy the look of. Come on. And then don't shoot at it. Shoot at it. Now I can shoot. Yeah. Yeah, it's probably Spaghetti Code, and the budget is too low for that. Wait, what? How did it die? What? I never saw that happen. That's crazy. How did the bloom die? That's actually crazy. Crazy. Two more days, then my journey to my Druid Stones will be over. Nice, congrats. That's a long journey. A lot of people, like, I wouldn't say fail, but a lot of people are very, very annoyed at this. So happy that you are almost done. That's good. That's very good. Nice, we did it. Wasn't that bad. Very good. Good job, guys. Yeah, so if you want to join a group in the Labyrinth, you can do so via the LFG. Yeah, but there is no real reason to stick around in the group that you just joined, because you can easily leave the squad, leave the party, whatever you joined, to get to the map, and then you will be on the map. You will not have to leave the map again. So the maps are not bound to the groups. That's very important to understand. And if you understand that, then the only reason to stay in the squad or party is because you have priority of boons and stuff and healing if you are in the party. So if, for example, here in this instance, if someone would be outside of the party, which cannot be true for this instance because it's an instance, not an open world map. The Labyrinth is an open world map, so you can leave the group. This you cannot leave without leaving the map. if someone would be outside of my party and I would heal my other players, then they would be prioritized over the player that is actually outside of the party. Of course, most of the attacks have a 5-person target limit, so that I would also heal all of them if they are 5, even if they're not in the group. But if there would be a 6th person and they are standing directly next to me and they are not in the group, I would prioritize my group all the time. There are some weird exceptions to this rule. Some attacks are not prioritizing, but it's very rare. So just wanted to mention it here. Which start you starting playing with Silver, and which one is your first main? Which class? So my first class here was on this account was Mesmer, but on my main account it was actually Ranger. I played Ranger. That's an interesting story. I started playing Ranger back in like 2013, and I did not have a lot of fun at it personally. It was just very boring, and I did not play the game after that. I really played a little bit when it came out. Started on Ranger, I did not have a lot of fun. And at 2014 or something, I came back to the game, and then I slowly started to get the game slowly. Yeah, and then I leveled the Ranger to level 80, and as soon as I hit level 80, I created a warrior. I'm not joking, like instantly. And then I made the decision to play warrior because it was really good, right, in the current moment, at the current meta. But it's really like, for me, it was, I started on Ranger, and it was not the class that I actually enjoyed. So I swapped almost instantly after I hit level 80. To this day, Ranger is a class that I don't play as much as I play other classes, but I play it way more often, of course, nowadays, because I actually enjoy Untamed and Soul Beast, and even Druid. So just core Ranger was not really clicking with me. That's more like it. Is it better for new players to open the packs? I would sell them. I would always sell them. Selling is in my opinion, the safer bet, and especially for a new player where you don't know which item is valued highly and which not, I would just sell it all the time. Yeah. That's what I would do. So we have 20 more minutes until the Kaka Queen. So let's hopefully we get those 2 recommended fractals done until then. I guess we will, but that will be good, so I can finally get the next mastery point. Yeah, I think Ranger will be my, I wouldn't say my new main, but it will be my very like dedicated class that I play a lot, because I think the Gale Shot looks amazing. I think Gale Shot will be a class that I will play a lot when the expansion comes out. But for now, I think Ranger is for me not a class that I play all the time. I like Mesmer a little bit more. That's currently my most played class at the moment. I like it a lot because it's very unique. But that might change with the next expansion, so. Why is it so hard to find people to do low-level fractals? Because currently it's not the prime time in most regions of the world, and that means you don't have enough players playing the game to get the very like niche parts of the game, which is low-level fractals is somewhat niche. Higher-level fractals is not as niche as low-level fractals, so just be patient, you will get there. But if you look, for example, let's take a look at the fractals, and I go for low levels, yeah, okay, some of them. Medium tier, almost none. And then high level, I get a lot of, or a decent chunk of again. Because most players are either at the very beginning or at the very end. Not a lot of players are actually in the middle, because they are already almost gone or did not start yet. That's why there is some kind of discrepancy there. Yeah, I guess a lot of players started playing on one class and played another one after that, because that's just how the game works. Yeah. I had exactly the same experience with Ranger, went through it, but it didn't make it much better for me. Yeah, I think... No, is it bugged again? Sometimes it bugs, I hate it. I hate it. Sometimes this guy bugs and doesn't talk at all. And hopefully he starts or continues talking, because if not, we have to reset the whole fractal. There it is. This guy has to jump. If this guy does not jump, we have to reset the whole fractal. Ooh, doesn't look good because we were too fast. And in the recommended fractal, you cannot be fast. That's not allowed. Yeah, I think we have to reset. Oh my god. Happens, sadly. Considering it was quite hard to get to 80, had to level with crafting. Yeah, that's a little bit annoying, of course, that you have to go and do the stuff again that you did to level, but I think it gets way more, I wouldn't say easy, but it gets way more, less annoying to level your second character. But yeah. Yeah, we lost one player, that's also not good, but can say that's fine. I was in the process of making a warrior to ditch my ranger right before Soulbeast was announced. Oh yeah, I think for me the problem was like that ranger was always, at least for most players when they start playing ranger, they think about ranger being the class that is somewhat of a hunter. But in Guild Wars 2, ranger is more of some kind of like nature warrior, something like that. And that's not necessarily what most people actually expect with a ranger. So I personally would say that with introduction of Soulbeast and specifically with Galeshot, I think we are now talking way more about this archer playstyle. And I'm quite happy that this comes now. But I think it's quite late, and a lot of players now play other classes than ranger, and most players don't want to swap classes all the time. So maybe we'll see an influx of new players playing Galeshot, but I can definitely see that ranger is a little bit lacking because of that. Welcome, Alka. Welcome, welcome. Is there another way to get the gift of exploration? If you really want the gift of exploration, you either have to do it yourself or you have to purchase the, so to say, service from someone else. So you send them all the materials for a legendary and they craft the legendary for you and they charge you with a fee and for the gift of exploration and stuff, all the account bond stuff they used for that, and then you get the legendary sent back. That's typically what you can do. It's done typically via the trading post Discord, the Overflow trading post Discord. If you don't want to do that, if you don't trust other people to do that, then you have to get it yourself. That's how it goes. You cannot sell it on the trading post. Do you need the Dragon Slayer Mastery for getting good loot at Dragonstorm? No, I don't think so. I think you can get the infusions and stuff drops there as well, and you get the gold without the Dragon Slayer Mastery. So most of the stuff you get without the Mastery. Yeah, we still don't know how they're gonna be on release. If you read the PC Gamer interview, they said they're reworking some stuff and buffing nothing. Yeah, I was actually thinking about making a video when the article released, but at the same time, I thought this article didn't tell me anything except that Evoker gets like some buffs and stuff like that, and like 2 other specs we get some specific changes, but all the other specs they said yes, we will look at them and we will do reworks. There was almost nothing in there that actually told me that it's actually like worth making a video about. So I didn't want to do some slop content with almost no interesting details. So I hope we will get a blog post about this in the future, but I personally think like they will do quite a bit of reworks to existing specs or to the upcoming specs, so that they will not be like exactly like they were in the beta. At least that's my prediction. Hey, welcome. I'm doing good. So, do we have a question here? Which warrior build is good enough for challenge modes and fractals? So, in fractals challenge modes, I would say there are 2 warrior builds that I would recommend if you are warrior main. I would not say you should play those builds if you're playing another class and switch to them, because they are not that crazy good. But if you really want to play a power build, specifically in the power challenge modes, then I would say the best one that you can get is power. How is it called? Bladezone. That's the one. Power Bladezone is really good because it does a lot of damage and a big burst phase. So I would say that's the one that I would recommend if you want to play a power warrior build. You can also play, if you really wanted to, power berserker for quickness, for example, or just power damage in general. But it is, in my opinion, not the best choice for Fractals because it has almost no cleave. And in Fractals, typically for CMs, not that much, but for normal Fractals, cleave is very important. So Berserker is not that good. But if you want to play a Condi build, Condi Berserker is very good. It's very underrated. It's very nice for damage. You can play it as a quick DPS. You can also play it as a full DPS. And I think that would be your choice if you want to get a single warrior spec that can play Condi. And then you have the power version, would probably be the Bladezone. That's what I would recommend. The problem is that you have some cleave with the X, yes, or with the X5, but your X Berserk skill, so your primal burst, so how is it called? Not the eviscerate, but the other one, decapitate. If you have this one, you have to have a single target. And that's one of the biggest like chunks of damage that you do. It's like, I would say like, I don't know, I don't know the number by heart, but it's definitely a big chunk of your damage that comes from the spamming of the F1 skill on X, which is only a single target. And that can be quite annoying if you have single target. But yes, the Greatsword has a lot of cleave as well, but that's then more talking about warrior specifically. There can be some niche builds and you can play them very well. But I would say in Condi fights, typically the longbow version, Condi version is very good, has good cleave. And if you want to play a power-based warrior that is not providing any boons, it's just about the damage, then the best option is by far Bladezone. It's a really good build that it's like top DPS in most situations if you know the fight, because it's a very like high skill ceiling build. But if you're a warrior main, I think that's my top recommendation there. Yeah. What's the easiest way to get more bags with more slots? So there are a lot of bags nowadays that you can get in the game. And you can get some of them from achievements. You can purchase some of them from the trading post, at least up to 20 slot bags. And most of them you have to craft yourself, the higher ones, if you want to get a lot of them. And that can be very expensive. You need always the runes of holding, and they can be very expensive, or they always are very expensive. So I would say getting more bag slots is never a cheap endeavor. But I might make a video about it in the future, because I anyway plan to do a lot of like increases of my bag slots on my main account at some point. So I guess that's something that I might make a video about, yes. Also from Iceblood Saga, exactly. From Iceblood Saga you get those Boreal bags very cheap. And those Boreal bags are quite nice because they are 32 slot bags and you can craft them indefinitely by using the cheaper variant with the Itrite ingots that you get from the strike missions, for example. Yeah, good point, good point. No, I think Greatsword Berserker is not bad, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying Berserker is a spec that is not perfect for Fractals, but it can work perfectly fine, yeah. I think, but for challenge modes, I would say Bladezone in power challenge modes and Conditioned Berserker in Condi fights or in like ranged fights. That's what I would recommend. Oh, we are four-manning it. That's why I was wondering why is no one standing in there, but we don't have anyone that stands in there. Okay. Yeah, Halloween bags can be quite cheap to get, but they're only 20 slot bags. So if you want to go higher than that, you will not be able to get those. I'd say if they have the Living World seasons of Season of Dragons is a good way. Yes, that is a good point. The Seasons of the Dragons, so if you go for all the Return to Achievement stuff, you get a lot, and I mean a lot of nice stuff on the way while going for the Legendary. So that's definitely something worth considering. And good point there, good point for sure. There we go, we did it. What's the last daily? 5, okay. I think we should be able to do that quite fast. Yeah, I think in general, Warrior is quite slept on. It's not only Greatsword Berserker. I think a lot of Warriors are like either not playing Warrior because they think it's bad, but it's actually quite good. I think there are a lot of good builds on Warrior. You just have to play them and actually dedicate some time to actually min-maxing them. Not something that plays itself, but it's a good build, yeah. Yeah, always happy to help. Always happy to help. And I think Greatsword Warrior is like a lot of players' favorite warrior design. A lot of players on warrior specifically like the greatsword, so I think it makes a lot of sense. Exactly, the agility, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Censored Eyes gives you a 1 as well. I think we have one more to go. Swamp. 8 minutes for Swamp, I think that's doable. Is he quick Firebrand still worth learning? Is it still good for things like Reckless? Yes. It's a very, very good class if you are willing to commit some time. If you are someone that just started out the game and does not really want to have a hard build, then Firebrand might not be the top pick. Firebrand is a build that is requiring you to put some effort in. It's not something that you can play and expect that it will play itself. Firebrand, especially Heal Firebrand, is quite challenging in that regard to master to its fullest. And you have to master it quite well, because if you don't, that means that you are not able to get the quickness and healing out to a point where you actually need to get it out. Yeah. Okay, so I guess we can start. No. What happened? Okay, we have now 2 here. That's a little bit worse, for sure. Okay. World vs. World is definitely the cheapest if you play World vs. World. So let's put there. There we go. Now we have it. I mean, Bladezone, some people really dislike Bladezone, some people really like Bladezone. I think Bladezone is a spec that is heavily dependent on your like class fantasy, and if you like that kind of like slow into one big hit and then very like almost no damage into one big hit again, if you like this kind of playstyle, then Bladezone is for you. If not, then you can never play Bladezone. That's just the whole design of the spec. So do we get it? Do we get it? Yes, very good. I think for me personally, if Bladezone is meta, I would maybe learn it, but I think right now it's a build that is somewhat, I wouldn't say bad, but it's somewhat like a lot of effort that you need to put in to actually play it very well. And for me, I would rather play a build that I also like the look of. And typically, I think Bladezone is a little bit boring from the look, and I would rather play something like, I don't know, a Elementalist or a Mesmer that deals a lot of damage and has some nice, interesting attacks. So I'm more of a Magic enjoyer, but I can definitely understand why a Warrior fan would like to play the big hitting attacks for sure. I just think it's heavily dependent if you like this kind of playstyle. If not, sure, don't go for it. Thanks, Shayo, by the way, for the Prime. Really appreciate it. Haven't seen it earlier. Thanks a lot. I was so busy here in my tier 3 fractals. Yeah, but good point, Alka. The 32 slot backs in World vs. World also can be very cheap. I just think for me personally, on my main account, I play a lot of strike missions. I don't play like absolutely crazy amounts of World vs. World, so for me it's cheaper to get the PvE versions. But the World vs. World ones can also be quite cheap, yep. Or like cheaper, they are quite expensive anyway still. Yeah, in PvP you would not play Bladezone. PvP, Bladezone is like, they nerfed it so much, it's a build that is not good anymore. It's really bad in that regard. Bladezone in PvP is a spec that is like, they nerfed it so much, PvP World vs. World, that it's just not playable in that regard. You can make some meme specs or something, but it's mostly a PvE spec. That's Bladezone, yeah. Yeah, I think that's something that always comes up when we talk about Bladezone and Mechanist, for example. It would be so awesome if we could change the skin of the class mechanics. So if you could, for example, make the Mechanist's mech, like instead of green, make it blue, or make the how is it called, the thing from the Bladezone, the gun saber, make it look interesting, more I don't know, more like a blade, or make it more look like a jade weapon or something, so that you could alter the weapon how it looks or attacks For example, Elementalist, maybe even change the meteor shower attacks, that they would be like icy and instead of like fiery meteors. Just a skin, not the other things, just the skin itself. That would be very interesting. I'm not sure if they're even capable technically of doing that, but I think that would be something really, really good. Nice, we did it. Very good. Now we can go to the Kaka Queen. 1 Aegis and Bladezone is kind of sad. Yeah, it's just 1 Aegis that keeps you alive. That is true. That is true. Okay, so now we want to go to Southsum Cove. Yeah, folded katana. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, dyeing the mech, it doesn't need to be a new skin. If it's just dyeable, I agree. That would be awesome. What do you consider the best and worst game modes for Power Reaper? So the worst game mode for Power Reaper is without a doubt PvP right now. That sounds like crazy, but it is. In PvP, Power Reaper is a build that is just completely farmed by the current meta. It's really bad. So sadly not playable there. If you want to play in World vs. World Power Reaper, you can play that, but in PvE it's better than in World vs. World, but in PvP it's by far the best. The worst. By far. It's horrible. It's really, really bad. So Power Reaper, don't play it in PvP. In World vs. World and PvE, it's a very solid pick. Yeah. Yes. It's like the Kaka Queen is almost there. Let's get it done. We get some, hopefully if we kill it, hopefully someone is here to kill it as well. Let's check. Maybe some squad is there. No, they are all lab farming. Okay. Yeah, we can also do the Leyline Anomaly, but the Leyline Anomaly doesn't give me a mastery point. I want to get the mastery point. That's why I'm going for this one. But yes, the Leyline Anomaly can be a very solid pick if you want to get a Mystic Coin. Ooh, the inventory is almost full. Let's clean it. I also wish they allowed us to dye the ad infinitum. I think that's like, they had a lot of cool ideas with adding like dyeable back pieces and stuff. I hope they will add that to older ones as well, like ad infinitum. That would be awesome, absolutely. I personally would say, in general, like dyeable weapons would be like a best-selling feature ever if they would add this. They probably won't because they already have this like now infusions that are somewhat doing a similar job. But I think that that is something that is really, really cool. I have to do that differently, just like that. But yeah, I think like in general, like more customizable options, skins, dyeable things would be the best in general for getting, but just getting player to play the same content over and over just with new skins. And that's definitely something that I would like say is probably like a good selling point if they would put stuff like that in the gem store. I don't know. Maybe they have ideas for that. Maybe they cannot do that. Whatever. I think it's for me as a player sounds interesting. How much do you think lab farm is affecting other content participation? I think it depends on what kind of content the players that do the lab farm typically play. So I would say most players that typically do the lab farm are open world players. So I would say a lot of the open world events are somewhat going down in participation. So normal map fans like Dragonfall, like, I don't know, Drizzlewood Coast, they would probably go down in participation as, for example, Silver Wastes. They will probably go way down. No one will farm that during that time, or almost no one. Most people would rather play the lab right now. That will change as soon as the lab leaves, or as soon as the expansion drops, I would guess. But before then, I think a lot of the open world players are pushing into Labyrinth. I think the PvP, World vs. World, and instance content like Raid, Fractals, and stuff like that, I think there are not like players that enjoy those game modes will still play them. Maybe they will decrease the amount of time they play them. Yes, maybe they go into lab, but I think it's more like the most players that are in the open world. That's probably the most affected part. Yeah. What do you think are the best ways to get Mystic Clovers? So I have a slight teaser here. I'm working on a video about a Mystic Clover guide, and it will come out next week if I can get it done. But yes, Mystic Clovers, Wizard's Vault, daily vendor or weekly vendors, you can get them from Drizzlewood Coast and from World vs. World reward tracks. other than the Mystic Forge. So I would say the weekly vendors top priority after the Wizard's Vault, and then reward tracks. That's what I would go for. Yes. Also, they really should make the Mouth of Mortimer fight to be a no mount zone. That would be interesting. I agree. That would be very interesting. That would force you to use the Leyline Master and stuff like that. Oh, we lost the camp. No. Which one did we lose? Which one did we lose? We need to have all 4 settlements captured, secured, so that we can get the Kaka Queens to spawn. We need. Oh, we lost 2. No. We lose all of them. No. That's not good. I really want the Kaka Queen to spawn because 1 mastery point, 1 mastery point. Could get skins for Necromancer when going into Shroud. Oh, that would be so good. It's like side skins. That would be awesome. People would like go insane with the gem spending on that. Absolutely. That would be crazy. My next goals on this account is going for more mastery level, pushing into tier 4 fractals, and I also want to go for the legendary accessories. Yeah, so Aurora Vision, those will be on my go-to list. Yeah, to-do list. As well as the, how is it called? Legendary backpack, stuff like that. Yeah, so getting just more legendaries that are worthwhile getting. Not necessarily weapons, maybe like a Gen 2 and Gen 3 weapon to showcase how to get those, because we already got a Gen 1, but stuff like that, yeah. More trinkets, I would say, more legendary trinkets. No, I would say don't gamble for Mystic Clovers. Gambling for Mystic Clovers is like, if you want to get it the fastest, that's the way to do it, but I would say it's not the best way. Definitely not. Yeah, Silver Wastes is painful. I agree. Silver Wastes is not for everybody. Okay, so we have all 4. Very good. Now we can go back. What is your best Sky Scale skin? On my main account, here on this account I don't have the Sky Scale, so that's why I'm talking about the main account. On the main account I use the, I don't even know how it's called, the 2000 gems one, the really nice one. That I don't even know, that's how much I invest into fashion. I don't even know how it's called. Is it the, I have no clue how it's called. I really don't know. I would just like one of the really expensive ones because I really like that skin. I think it's that one. Is it that one? I don't know. But it's a expensive skin. It's a really good one. No, it's not that one. I think it's that one though. Yeah, this one. I don't know how it's called that you just saw on screen. I don't know how it's called. I'm so bad with the fashion wars. I have no clue. I would sell either right now or wait 6 months. That's the, don't do anything in between. So if you want to get the most amount of money, you would probably wait for 6 months to get the bags. Nice. Yeah. And the other thing, if you want the money fast, sell it now. Sell it now. Yeah, Coalescence as well. Yeah, just trinkets in general, going for the trinkets. Legendary trinkets. That's probably what I go for on this account. I got Gift of Souls from the bags. What is used for? You can use it for some very, very rare skins. You need the Mystic Forge for that. And then you can make the skins and have some, for example, Night Fury, for example, needs it, or stuff like that. It's a good Gift of Souls can be used for those. Yeah. Yeah, and I wouldn't say it's about the minimalistic look. Actually, that's the skin here. That's the one. People always, when they want to show the skin, they are like instantly like going off the mount. But it's not here. Okay. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So this one. It's always the flashy one. This is the one that looks like the one that I like the most. Or it's the only one that I use on my main account at least. Yeah. Yeah, the Dark Monarch one is also really cool. It's also really cool. Do we have to do the champion and then the Kaka Queen spawns? Hopefully at some point. I really don't want to wait much longer because if it's not spawning, it's not spawning. Just got my Sky skin, looking for a good skin for it. I think you can just always, that's the cool part about skins, they did it quite well. You can just go to the wardrobe, or where is it? Mounts. And then you can like select which ones you like. I can also do that, of course, good point. And I can showcase which one is that I like the most. But there are so many nowadays. There are so many. So the Dark Monarch one is really cool. If you like some edgelord look, and that's it. Shimmerwing, that's how it's called. I like the Shimmerwing. Not necessarily the base skin, but you can dye it so nicely that it is really, really cool how it looks. It's called Shimmerwing. Good point. Yeah. Talking about masteries, what best track for new players? What's the priority? So I would say Autoloot is the priority. Saying that and I don't having it right now, but yes, that's the priority. That's what I'm farming for. And in Corteria, other than that, I would get the recursive resourcing if you're playing any fractals, because then you get more loot from fractals. That's really good. Other than that, Corteria is completely useless. You should get gliding from Heart of Thorns. You should get your mounts that you want to get in Path of Fire. Iceblood Saga, you should get some essence manipulation for some loot. End of Dragons, if you like fishing, go for fishing. Other than that, go for the Chatbot. Secrets of the Obscure, get whatever you like. Enchanted Wilds, also get whatever you like, maybe. That's about it. Guild Wars 2 is in that regard quite, like, the newer masteries are quite bad. Not really necessary. Gliding and the mounts are way more impactful, I would say. So I have a video where I talk about each mastery and why they are good and why you should get them or why you shouldn't get them as a new player very fast. But in general, it's more like focus on the ones that are very important, and the other ones will either come with time or you will not need them at all. But Autoloot is by far the most important mastery to get, by far. At least in my opinion, because it's just such a nice convenience, and that's why I'm grinding it right now. That's why I'm grinding the mastery points right now. Chancellor Spear, which is my first thing. Yeah, the spear, of course, is really good, but it's not locked behind mastery as far as I know. At least in PvP, you can use it instantly if you have the expansion. Nice. Now we spawn, hopefully, the Kaka Queen. And the spear is like a story step that you need to play to get it. That's also not the perfect one. Most of the new masteries are like farm gold faster in expansion map. Yeah, or they are just adding some kind of like new vendor tab or exploration thing so that you can use the Mursat Mursat mirrors or something like that. But is it really like game changing? Not at all. It's like you use it on one specific map to some extent. I don't know. I feel like the new mastery is a little bit like lackluster. Don't get me wrong. I think it's better than not having a mastery, I guess. But it's still a little bit feeling like boring. If you compare to gliding, if you compare to the Autoloot mastery or the mount masteries, they are just so much better than the new masteries that you would like say, okay, you get a little bit more of interesting exploration in one map. I would rather have masteries that I can use on every single map to some kind of fun gameplay. That's at least for me. So I think it's at some point they are just running out of fun, interesting ideas. And that leads to masteries that are like that, just not as entertaining. Yeah. Okay, so you need the first tier mastery for getting the spear. But okay, it's only the first tier, which is not too bad. I think the story is probably the thing that takes longer to get than the mastery anyway. But yeah, there we go. Kaka Queen, done. There we go. That was its, I would say, one of the easiest mastery points to get in Corteria. Sadly, we don't have that many more. So that's it. And now we play some PvP, I guess. And then we go for some more. Maybe we can get a Forged Steel going. If someone by any chance does a Forged Steel, I will join that. But now let's play some PvP. But yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. Always happy to answer here. And we will get some more stuff going, because one of the things that I want to go for, probably the backpack, is the legendary here in PvP. The legendary backpack is quite cheap or quite easy to get in PvP. So that's one of the things that I want to go for. I might want to actually use some boosters here. Let me think, what do we get here? Some more experience. No, I'm not sure. PvP, the Canicon Gobbler might not be the best one. We will see. I guess that's enough. The PvP reward backline boost that we have here. Probably enough. Good enough for now. Yeah, Fort Steel, if enough other people join, we can do a Fort Steel. I guess we can just go for Fort Steel anyway. Yeah, I will create a group and we can do it. And you can join. Yeah, you can do that. There we go. Let's do a Fort Steel. Let's see how long we need until we get someone. But it's a really good blue profit crystal farm. That's why it's so good. So anyone that wants to join Fort Steel, I'm currently in the LFG for it. And then we can open another weekly chest here, really good. And it gives a lot of blue profit crystals. I'm 90. It probably will be enough to push me towards the weapon. Let's see how much I need for next ascended weapon. 250. That's not enough. I don't have enough then, but I will get closer to it at least. That's good. Maybe someone can own it. Thanks for Ferko for joining again. Thanks a lot. You can just join Fort Steel. You only need the access to the Eye of the North. That's the thing. Eye of the North access, and you can just join here. That's it. And Fort Steel gives actually, if you do it fast, it's a decent gold per hour that you get. And you also, don't forget, get a lot of blue profit crystals, like I mentioned. And those profit shards, however they're called, those are for a new player or someone that doesn't have full ascended gear on every single character, is something that is quite valuable. I value it very highly, so I think it's really good. Yeah. But other than that, Fort Steel is very easy. There is nothing. So play whatever you like. It doesn't matter. It's just Fort Steel. So if you like to play Herald, Quickness Herald, whatever, play it. If you like to play anything else, play that. Just play what you like. It's just Fort Steel. We are not like min-maxing a lot. I will do the super speed providing in the beginning. And that's good enough, I guess. There's the trade. Yeah, there we go. As I asked you earlier, what's the best class for World vs. World in PvE long term on one character? You said Scrapper, Guardian, Elementalist. You mean core builds? I like Willbender, seems fun to play in World vs. World. No, you asked for a class. That's why I answered with a class, you know? Guardian, Elementalist, and Engineer would be my top classes that I would pick. Oh, maybe someone can open it, hopefully. I can't. I know that. I cannot. Yeah, but if you talk specifically about specs, so elite specs, then I would say Scrapper is really good for Engineer. I would say Firebrand is really good for Guardian. And I would say Catalyst and Tempest are really good for Elementalist. Those would be... And if you want to play Mesmer, I would say Chronomancer is the best pick. But if you're talking about core builds, if you only like core builds, then it gets a little bit harder because core builds are somewhat lackluster, especially in PvE, I would say, if you want to get at least some decent boon output or something going. That's just how it's designed. Could you go and do these bosses blind, or do you think watching a guide first is needed? No. I think like most content in Guild Wars 2, specifically strike missions, like for example, the Fort Steel that we're doing here, you can go in without watching any guide, without knowing anything about the fight. It's really easy. You have a lot of players that either know what they are doing and carry you through it, or even if everyone is new, you will still understand how to do it. It might take a few minutes longer, but you will not wipe or will not have to reset typically. So I would say most of the content in Guild Wars 2 is just go in, have fun, but it's really not about... Let's check if someone can open it. Nice, we have someone. Very good. I was fearing that we have 10 people and no one can open it. But we did it. Very good. Now we can finally get it done. Yeah, so I would say if you want to go into high-level fractals, if you want to do, for example, fractal CMs or raid fights or something, then maybe watch a guide beforehand. But if you are going into strike missions, easy raids, it's not a big deal. It's really not. You can just play whatever you like. and go in for the first time without watching a guide. And I think that's what most players do. You also have to press 2 here, not only 1. 2 does a lot of damage. So, a little bit more. And destroy some targets. How do you know which one is easy when to start the game? That's a good point. It's really good point, and that's where the new update will come in with the next expansion. Because with the next expansion, they will homogenize entrances to raids and strike missions. And in there will also be a, so to say, a indicator how difficult a specific boss fight is, which is really cool for new players as well. So they actually see, okay, there is 1 star, that means it's an easy fight. Oh, there are 5 stars, this has to be a really hard fight. Stuff like that is definitely really cool, and I'm really happy that they will do that. For now, you have to listen to content creators or people in chat and stuff and telling you that Mossad Overseer is really easy, and I don't know, Doom CM is somewhat challenging. So that's the way to do it right now, but in the future there will be some cool idea. Yeah. And if you join groups for CMs that don't state experience, please tell us you don't know the mechanics. Yeah, exactly. I think in general, if you join a group, it's always nice to say you have never done that, because typically people don't kick you for that. They just are nice and like forgiving and maybe tell you even what to do. If you are somewhat of a player that is like informed and knows about it, then you don't have to write it. But if you are in a group, especially if they're looking for experienced players and you join them, write, I'm sorry, can I join? I'm not experienced, but can I still join? I will be like improving a lot fast or something. Just tell them. I think lying, especially if people say you should be experienced and you go in and don't tell them anything, they expect you to know everything in mechanic. So please always be like, so to say, honest and tell players what you actually know about it. Yeah, good point there by Kyla. Necromancer and World vs. World is good. I want to get into World vs. World in deciding between Necromancer and Elementalist. Yes, Necromancer is really good in World vs. World. There's a lot of AoE, that's why it's so good there. And it's a really fun spec to play. Elementalist is also really good in World vs. World. Both of them have a very nice niche. I think currently Necromancer is slightly better than Elementalist in World vs. World specifically. But it heavily depends on what kind of thing you're playing. So if you're playing roaming, so running around alone in World vs. World, then typically it's better to play Elementalist. But if you're in a big fight, Necromancer pulls off ahead to some extent. It depends. It heavily depends. Both of them are really, really good. I bought up to the 4th expansion, so decided to create a new character and go with new elite specs. Thanks for the advice. Nice. Very good. That's nice. Hopefully you have some fun. Very good. Very good. Never lie about the experience level that you have. It's really important. It's one of the basic etiquette things that I think is so important that keeps the game not toxic, is if no one lies. I really think that's so important. Because it's so hard in Guild Wars 2 to prove how experienced you are, that if everyone is just lying about it, that's not helping at all. It's making the thing even worse than it already is. Yeah. Only have about 200 hours my Twilight in the Fractal Claws, trying to figure out what to do now. Yeah, I mean, just try to different game modes if you like them, or give each of them a little bit of a try if you like them. Stick with them. If you don't like them, go back to another one. And in general, I would say set yourself some goals, like going for more legendaries, maybe go for higher masteries, maybe go for fractals to get more gold, whatever, and maybe upgrade your account. There are so many things that you can set yourself as a goal. You just have to set yourself a goal. If Guild Wars 2 is not a game that like handholds you and says, okay, you have to do this, and now you have to get this item level, and then this is just not how it works in Guild Wars 2. So if you want to get some more insight on that, maybe watch my video what you should do after level 80, because it also teaches you, so to say, what is the important part here. But other than that, just try to enjoy the game, find something that you like, and set yourself some goals. Yes, hydrate. Good point. Good point. Very good. Have to put my glass on a more visible spot so I actually don't forget. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, Scourge is really good right now. So I would say, Kyle, a good point. I think like in Guild Wars 2 in World vs. World is like ever since Scourge released, which is an elite spec from Necromancer, it was always one of the best specs to play in a squad, like almost always. So it's so good. Like if you want to play a Necromancer in World vs. World, it's probably in Zergs, it's probably a Scourge. Yeah, there are some things, of course. Yeah, I'm not saying that there is no way to tell how often a player did a specific fight. Yeah, I'm not saying that. There are kill proof. So ways to say, okay, this guy did it 100 times, this boss or this fractal. Yeah, but that doesn't tell you how experienced someone is. Because in my opinion, experience is not necessarily how often did I repeat something. There are people that did Sarah, which is Raid Wing 3 end boss, 100 times, and have no clue how to tank it. So I would say kill proof does not mean someone is actually very experienced at it. Yeah, that's what I meant. But yes, there are ways to say this was cleared 100 times by a person. Yes. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. But for, I would say, kill proof is also overrated. A lot of times you can, if you have someone that actually is just willing to learn and willing to watch a guide about it, they are probably better players than someone that did the boss 2 times but never did it like with the mindset of I want to understand how the mechanics work. So it's like Guild Wars 2 is a weird game in that regard. You can just jump in, a lot of easy raid bosses you can get done because someone carried you. Doesn't mean you actually get better at the bosses themselves. Is there anywhere in the game to know which raid you not have done this week? So in game there is no feature like that, sadly, but you can get an add-on, which is the trackers add-on, either for Arc DPS or for Blishot, where you can like just use the API to see what kind of raids you already did or which kind of dungeons and stuff like that. All of that works in there. So that exists, but it's not in the game. It will be in the game when the new UI update comes out. They already had a blog post about this, with how raids will be changed and strike missions, and then there will be an UI that tells you which kind of raid you already did. In my opinion, if you wanted to have some kind of feature in the game that tells you how often you did a boss, I think it needs to be some kind of achievement. So an achievement that just infinitely tracks how often you defeated a boss while being the tank, while being the healer, while being the pylon on Cardim 2 or something like that. Stuff like that, that would be the way to make sure that it is in the game and people would use it to some extent. But even then, it's not a very good feature. I think kill proof in general, I think it's really hard in Guild Wars 2 to make a way to make kill proof not toxic while also being somewhat useful and really reliable, because just killing a boss Veil Guardian 100 times as the DPS player might not make you able to tank it, and I think that's a big issue. So how can you prove that you are also able to tank it? It's hard. It's really challenging to make that really well done. So I'm not sure if they will ever do that, and even if they want to do it, I'm not sure how they would do it. So we will see. We will see what they can come up with. But I would say the best way to get into raids and fractals and high-level content like that, if you want to get the best experience, I would say the best experience is getting a party of friends or guild group or something, and then you can also have different experience levels and you can teach each other and have some fun in the voice chat, for example. That is how I would say an MMO is typically like the most fun. If you are some player like that. If you want to be alone, you can easily do that as well. Just don't expect that the clear times and the learning experience is as fun as it would be if you had a guild group. Welcome Snowbleeds, welcome, welcome. In Lost Ark, the gatekeeping was insane if you didn't have the titles that showed you to kill X amount of times. I think that's not good. I think that's not a healthy environment to learn and to get into the game. So I hope that's not something that comes up with Guild Wars 2. But like I said, I highly doubt that Arena will put any kill proof or something like that in the game. So, or that incentivizes some gatekeeping. I think Guild Wars 2 ArenaNet is quite hesitant with stuff like that. No, that's very bad if no friends want to play Guild Wars 2. Maybe we have to incentivize some more, because I think Guild Wars 2 is a great game. We need more new players, and if we get more friends, that's good. So I don't know what you can do to get them into the game. Maybe make it more tasty to look at. I don't know. Maybe they have to watch some of my videos or my streams, I guess. I have no clue. I hope there will be some hard fights in Visions of Eternity. I want to see 1k LI groups for metas again. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if they are like confirmed to be like a lot of metas in the new maps. I hope there will be, but I have no clue if that will be the case, to be honest. Could be. But I have to be honest, I don't expect like a Sub 1 2.0. I don't see it, to be honest. I think it was fun for the people that enjoyed it, but I think like ArenaNet did not particularly like it if the open world community is upset. They want an expansion to do well because people want to play it. They don't want to have an expansion that is only for tryhards. I think that seems not what they want to do. I'm good. How are you doing? Some people want a fast run, to be fair. If you don't have KP, make your own groups. Exactly. I think that's a good point. I think it's complete. I'm not saying KP are bad. I'm just saying it's not a very good way to tell if a player is good or not. I'm just saying that if I use KP a lot to join fractals and to join raids, of course, because I have them. But if you're a new player, you might find it difficult because they exist. So for me, it's like a two-edged sword in that regard. Double-edged sword, yeah. Most often they tell me that they don't like it because there is no clear path to what they do once they hit level 80, which is a fair criticism. It's an absolutely fair criticism. I think Guild Wars 2 needs some kind of like adventure guide after level 80, so that people like that... Oh my god, I almost got it alone. There we go. That we have some guidance for new players. I think after reaching level 80. I think that's a very, very worth it point to bring up, and it's a fair criticism in Guild Wars 2 that you don't have that. And even if you would have that, I think Guild Wars 2 is still somewhat of a sandboxy game, because you are still reliant on like your own goals to have a lot of fun in the game, because it's not like the game forces you to get higher level gear. It doesn't force you to get legendary gear to go into raids, which other MMOs typically do. They force you to get the highest gear level to get access to the next raid of the newest expansion. In Guild Wars 2, that's not the case. You could go in with Masterwork gear if you wanted to. And stuff like that is definitely like a big plus for some people, but it's a big negative for others. So it's really hard to find a right balance there. Yeah. Stuff like Crossma Valley is an interesting take, for example. Absolutely. I think Crossma Valley is one of the coolest maps. I think sadly it's not a good incentive to go back there nowadays, because there is not a lot of stuff that is actually like quite rewarding in that regard. But I think the map itself is awesome. It has so many different small events, doesn't have a big meta event. If they would put out stuff like that has some kind of longevity in it, maybe some kind of tokens that you can gather from those events over time, which you then can purchase infusions that you can sell, or which you can then, I don't know, get the legendary from it. That would be awesome. I'm definitely with you there. I think you don't need a big meta event if the event itself or the events there have some kind of really fun interactive thing. Absolutely. Yeah, Dragon's End at release was really fun. I agree. I think it was one of the best metas at release in general in the whole game. But I think that it doesn't have to be a big meta event. It does not have to be. Personal opinion, but legendary gear should be better than Ascended? I don't know. I think Guild Wars 2 is the wrong game though for that. I think if you like would put that in WoW or in Final Fantasy where you have gear grind, yes, that is completely okay. But in Guild Wars 2, where most of the player base never gets a single legendary, I think it should not get better. Yeah. I think the game is for a different audience. That's the problem. Yeah, gold is the best motivator. I guess that's true. There's so much different currency on Guild Wars 2. Sometimes it's overwhelming. Yes, I think they will try to make less currency with the raid merch and the strike merch, but in general it's like definitely something that is a big issue for new players. I have a guide about all the currencies on my YouTube channel if you want to check that out, but it's of course something that is still like a little bit convoluted and needs to be better. But at the same time it's also like hard so to make currency that is not like laurels, for example, because if ArenaNet ever decides to put a currency that is already in the game in a legendary that you would use, yeah. Thanks, Linus, man. Really appreciate the sub. Thanks a lot for the prime. So if ArenaNet ever decides to have a legendary, use some currency that is already in the game, you have veterans like myself that have hundreds, thousands, millions, depending on what kind of currency, saved up of that currency. So how can you balance a new legendary using this currency without like making players instantly getting the legendary? So in my opinion, it's very hard because they often want to have a legendary that comes out and people have to farm the new maps. How can they enforce that? They can enforce that by making sure that players have to get the currency that you can only get on this specific new map. So there is a new currency, and that happens with every single release of the expansions. That's the problem. That's why it's very common that we get just more new on top, new and new and new currencies. That's the problem. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like it's insane. Spirit shards is another thing. I have also on my main account, I obviously have all the legendaries, the Orient skins, which took a lot of spirit shards. But even after having all the legendaries, I have like over 100 legendaries, yeah, and have the Orient skins on my main account. I'm still having like 15k spirit shards on my main account. Yeah. So how can you balance the spirit shards required for a new player with someone that plays the game a lot, and both of them should have some incentives to go to the new map or farm for spirit shards or for some kind of currency again? It's almost impossible to balance that in a way that players are either getting it directly or will never get it. It's really challenging. It's really, really challenging. Yeah. That's why there are so many new currencies, and that's where you have so much currency bloat, because we had just so many expansions and so many new maps that always wanted players to be incentivized to play the new maps. That's just a vicious cycle, I would say. Yeah. Yeah, that's just the problem with game development. I think they did a quite good job with one of the currencies, which is called, where is it? Ancient coins. Yeah, these ones here. I think this is a rather smart way of doing it. Ancient coins and unusual coins. Starting with starting with End of Dragons, we had coins that were previously unusual coins. So always the newest expansion gives you unusual coins, and as soon as the newest expansion becomes the second latest expansion, it becomes ancient coins instead. And then you need unusual coins again with the new expansion from the new map. I think that's a very smart way of doing it, and I hopefully hope they will continue doing that. The same goes for the green profit shards that we had, like you cannot get those anymore, but this would be like from the newest ones, from the newest strike missions, from the newest expansion. You cannot get those because there is no strike mission coming with Chantewalds, but that is a smart way of doing it. So they slowly recognized that this is a problem, but it took them years to actually do that, and we still have like hundreds of, or like dozens of currencies, probably like close to 100 almost. Yeah. I don't know. I hope at some point, Snowbleach. I hope at some point. Looking back, it's kind of funny of how much of the design principles got shot with every release. No Trinity, we got healers in the tanking mechanic. No vertical progression, we got currency bloat instead. Yeah, I think Guild Wars 2 had some really like high dogmas, what principles that they want to stick true with and to hold on to, and then slowly realized that those principles are not necessarily like the most like useful ones to have in general. So they at some point decided to make it a little bit softer and say, okay, we don't have a Trinity, but we still have a healer and tanks in some fights, or most fights actually. So Yeah, I think Guild Wars 2 is now in a spot where I would say we started out completely different than other MMOs, but we ended up in a spot, at least for instance content, that is very, very close to other MMOs as well. That's just, I guess, how it goes. Yeah, they will definitely merge the raid and strike currency. Maybe they make even a new one. Maybe they will say we will delete, or we will say the old currency is not used at all anymore, and you will get a new currency so that even the veterans are incentivized to play the new merged strike and raid mission. Maybe. Who knows? PvE is so perfect. The world versus world circling is also fun for me, but I just wish roaming was a little different. It's either way always outnumbers, or my opponent is so much more experienced than me. Yeah, roaming is in a weird spot. I agree, but it can be fun. Just be patient, just try to improve, and at some point you will also be the guy that actually farms the others. But just be patient, and if you don't like it, you don't have to play it. That's the good part about Guild Wars 2, especially roaming. It's not necessary to have fun in the game mode. I'm not sure if I can get there in time. Nope. Okay. You recently made a video about Willbender. Is it any good in PvE also? So Willbender is a very good spec in PvE. So Willbender is a spec that you can play as a full aggressive DPS build. You can even play it as a healer. You can play it as a supporter in PvE. You can play it as an amazing solo build. Willbender is one of the most flexible specs in existence in Guild Wars 2. So if you like Guardian and want to have some kind of like thievish playstyle for Guardian, assassin-y playstyle, Willbender is the perfect pick in PvE as well. Yes. And you can also play, if you really wanted to do this Bruiser Willbender build, but I have a video coming up about a very unkillable immortal solo Willbender. It's already out for my members on YouTube, but it will come out for all the viewers on YouTube as well, so you can check that one out. And it will be like somewhat close, or not somewhat close, but it will be a little bit similar to my PvP and world versus world Willbender builds. Yes, it's really good. Ooh, yeah, dungeon mastery point. That's true. That's good point. Good point. Good point. Maybe we have to do some dungeons here just for some more mastery points. Good point. Do you think tank and healing and support mechanics should be reworked, like range healing? I think that might be a hot take, but I think Guild Wars 2 doesn't need big reworks like that. I think Guild Wars 2 is too old as a game to get big reworks like that. I think the game is now in a spot where it's not able to get big reworks like that. They should rather focus on keeping the game healthy and fun to play for the players that enjoy it already. If you want to have a game that has this kind of like reworked thing, they should go for a new game. I think reworking boons, reworking ranged healing, reworking like stacking and stuff like that. Guild Wars 2 is, in my opinion, very hard to get a rework going like that. I think it's almost impossible. It's so much stuff that you need to change. It doesn't seem like it's feasible. At least in my opinion. The Willbender is the chrono of Guardian? Yes, I would say so. But Guardian has a lot of specs like that. Even Firebrand can be like somewhat like that. Yeah. Is there a website that keeps the roaming build updated? So I have my YouTube videos, so I try to keep them updated. But if you want a website, I would say probably like Meta Battle or The Guild. Those two have very updated roaming builds, and they are free, the builds itself. On The Guild, you have to pay for the guides, but the builds themselves are free. So you could check that out. I've seen a guy who plays PvP arena with a Willbender. Looks like this elite is the way to go. Yeah, if you like Willbender, it's a really good one, yeah. I like to play Willbender on my main account as well. I think Willbender is nowadays like a really, really good build in ranked. Why is no one using the harpoon? I don't get that, but it's okay. But yeah, in general, I think Guardian has a lot of great specs in all game modes. I predict that you will get a high roll. Really? Crazy. They lack manpower to do big changes as well. That's a good point. That's a good point. I think Guild Wars 2 ArenaNet has right now is actually not in a rather bad spot. Not necessarily. But it's not the biggest company. It's not like Blizzard, so they cannot make like big changes like to the UI, make big changes or reworks to how healers and tanking works in Guild Wars 2. That needs so much effort, and I think the game is just in a spot where at this point it just wants to be like maintained, getting more content and stuff, more elite specs, but not a complete rework, a complete relaunch. That doesn't seem like something that is really quite likely. That's what I would say where it's currently at. Yes, experience boosters work on matters. Yes. Very good. Very well there. Yes. Horizontal progression games need a stupid amount of content to compensate for the vertical chase. Rework sucks so much manpower away from an already small team. Yeah, absolutely. And that's definitely, that's a big problem. Absolutely. That the decision to make Guild Wars 2 a horizontal progression game is the decision why Guild Wars 2 gets so to say, struggles so much with keeping players playing for a long time. Because at least players that started the game at launch. Because it's just really hard to make enough PvE content specifically to keep horizontal progression gamers interested. If you make an artificial way, an artificial treadmill in the game that makes you like continue to play the game because you need to get this gear to get the next step in the next raid, to get the next best in slot item level, and continue like that, it's very easy to keep the players hooked. In Guild Wars 2, you cannot do that, because what keeps them hooked after getting ascended gear? Only some kind of fashion. And that's something that is coming from your own goals and not the game's. So it's really, really challenging in that regard. That's a big point there, yeah? Absolutely. So there we go. Get some new profit shards halfway through the next weapon. Not bad, not bad. Clean up the inventory, very good. I don't get Willbender, it's too complicated. I think Willbender is not for everyone, but I think it's not the most complicated spec. I think there are more complicated specs out there, but there are also easier specs. Not every spec has to be for you. So if you don't like it, don't play it. If you find it interesting, give it a try, because it's definitely, it might look more confusing at first than it really is, I would say. It's not too bad, to be honest. Okay, so now we play some PvP. For the daily. I'm on to the final chapter of Chant of Wilds, ready in time for Visions of Eternity. Perfect, very good, good job. I did actually not be able to do that. 1 second. So, we have a question here. 1 second. So, what's a good map to farm Chant of Wilds experience on? So I would say the meta events are really good in Chant of Wilds. So for example, the best way to do it right now is rift farming in Mistborn Barrens or in Baba Nissos. Those are amazing for farming experience for Chant of Wilds, because you can just farm the same rifts over and over and over, and they give a lot of experience. So that's the best way. Other than that, you can do the Baba Nissos event, meta event. That's something that also works very well. Yeah, Mistborn Barrens is amazing for just experience. Heal Firebrand is okay, but Willbender is weird. Yeah, I mean, that not everything has to be for everyone. So if you find Firebrand better for you to understand, then go for Firebrand. You know, I think Willbender for me is easier to understand than Firebrand, because Firebrand has a lot of different skills. But in my opinion, it's like, I don't know. Everyone is different. That's the summary here, I would say. I'm kind of new to the game, maybe 80 hours, which I'd assume is new. Yeah, I would say so. I was wondering what would be the best class as a starting player who's not really used to MMOs. Ooh, I mean, you should always choose the class that you like the look of, because even for the classes that you might consider difficult, there are some really low intensity builds where you don't have to play like crazy APM or something like that. So that's what I would say. But in general, choose the class that you like. If you don't have any preference, like Necromancer is a really safe class, I would say Guardian and Warrior to some extent are also quite easy to understand classes. But I would say Necromancer if you have no preference at all. That's what I would say. So for me, the best thing about Guild Wars 2 is I can return after 2 years and make a best in slot. Yeah, I think that's the best part about Guild Wars 2 for players that are actually really interested in a specific like playtime. You just play for 2 months, then you come back after 6 months, you still have the best gear. It's perfect. But, and that's the big problem. That's the big problem. That Guild Wars 2 doesn't keep players hooked for that long because of the same reason. And that's obviously like decreasing the amount of players as well. Yeah. Yeah. Which class elite has the most skills? Every class has the same amount of skills with the exception of Weaver. Weaver has more skills because Weaver has dual attunement, so fire and air, water and earth or something at the same time, so you get a third weapon skill in that regard. So Elementalist Weaver specifically has the most amount of skills. Very good. So we had another question here. So what can you do with Eternal Ice Shards? So Eternal Ice Shards, you get a lot of them. You could see that earlier. I have also some of them here on the storage character. It's like you get them very fast and very frequently if you do the strike missions, for example. And you can convert them into volatile magic. And then with the volatile magic, you can purchase a lot of tier 6 materials. That's the way to get a lot of gold, because you can then sell the tier 6 materials and get a lot of gold. So it's just raw gold lying around here. That's the item. If you want to ever increase your bags to 32 slot bags, you can save them and use them to craft Itrite ingots, which you then can use to get some more boreal bags, so the 32 slot bags. But for most people, it's just converted into volatile magic using a vendor in Eye of the North. And then if you are done with that, you can purchase for the volatile magic some... that's a nasty fear. We can focus on this guy. I think they are dead now. Yep, there we go. And this guy's also dead. Okay. Very nice, very nice. That's the 2 ways to do it. Yeah. Always happy to help. Yeah, Necromancer is a solid option, I would say. I agree. Ooh. Why is my team not helping me here? No, now they're here, okay. Very good. Nice, we got the CC. Another stun break, okay. I think they don't have anyone. But it will bender. Oh, the jukes. Last second jukes. No, didn't help. 3 people here. Sad. Any difference in picking a race? No. The races are just different stories, and the races are, I would say, they give you a different set of skills and different looks, but that doesn't change anything of the gameplay nowadays. So just play what you like the look of, and that's good enough. Yes. So races are not mattering at all. How mechanically intensive do you think the new mono element elemental spec will be? Very low. Very, very low. If they buff it to a level where it's really useful, it is one of the probably best specs for low intensity, at least for Elementalist, the best spec, but probably even for... I had to body block here a bit for my Elementalist, but even for, in general, for all specs. I really think so. That is a nasty CC combo. This is a Hammer Warrior, which is obviously like the absolute counter to a Necromancer here. Okay, I guess we get the kill here. There's someone playing with Portal. Core Mesmer with Portal. That's like absolute old school. That's like 10 years behind its time. That's insane. Not sure if I can't survive this. This is too much. Please get a kill. Okay, we both died. That's fine as well. I think it's better to do the Eternal Ice Shot than to do the Defense Seal nowadays and get Grid Boxes. Golden Coin, that might be true, but I think you cannot guarantee that in the future. That's why I always recommend the Volatile Magic, because that is future-proof. The Grid Boxes can be worthwhile converting. Yes, good point. That's another way to get gold. But you're really like heavily gambling on the luck of the shards there, the glacial shards. If you're like not getting like thousands of boxes, you might be unlucky and in the long run lose money there. But definitely good point, good point. It is right now the best way to get a little bit more gold. But it's not crazy, the difference. And I would say in the long run, Volatile Magic is the safer bet. How long will you need for the Legendary Backpack in PvP, you think? So probably like, if I play a lot of PvP here on stream, I would say probably not that long. If I play, there we go. If I play not that long, so I would say personally, if I commit a lot to it here on this account, I would expect it to get it this season. Or latest next season, next PvP season. But if I... Oh, the Willbender is on me, okay. Was the dodge? No, what are they doing? I don't even know what they're doing. I play Necromancer because Necromancer is right now quite strong and I like it. It's a fun spec, that's why I play it. I don't like Mesmer right now in PvP, it's not my favorite playstyle of it. I would rather play a little bit of a carry Necromancer build here. It's really strong. And it's exactly my playstyle. Like, big outplay potential, big damage potential, and quite a skillful build. That's why I like it so much. This guy doesn't have any ranged attacks, so we can just like cast auto attacks here and get some nice damage. Nice CC. The holo is back, okay. CC chaining, yup. There we go. After 10 years of not playing Ranger, I finally picked up Montaigne. Now it's, I think, really the best hybrid between Warrior and Elementalist, except you can actually play Ranger and PvP and not feel gimped. Yep, it's really good. It's really good right now. Probably the best build for ranked right now, if you like the playstyle of that, because it's somewhat skillful, but it carries really hard. Yep. Mono Ele will be really good. Yeah, Mono Elementalist will be insanely good. I think it will be, with the buffs that we got teased. Oh, my player died. I left them. I left them to die in a 1-on-1 downstate 1-on-1. Not good, not good. But now I'm gone already. Will they win it? Yes. Barely, but they won. That's good. But yeah, in general, Evoker seems like a very good spec with the buffs to it. Like, very, very good. I would expect it to be a capable healer. It will even in a single water element. So I will like theory craft a lot. There we go. We got the corrupt. Where's this guy going? Back in. Okay. Interesting choice. Yeah, no, that's it. He hasn't led since release. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, yeah, it will be good time to come back. Yeah, good time. Now Ranger, the new elite spec. Warrior should have gotten in the expansion. I think the new expansion, Paragon, is a good spec in that regard. I think people will like it. It fits Warrior. I think they will buff it quite crazy to feel more like interesting in the trades. And it's already very, very strong. So I think Paragon will be one of the top specs to play. So if you're a Warrior enjoyer, probably a good time to beat it. Yeah, the mobility sucks on Necromancer, that is true, but if you like know what you're doing and position yourself correctly, it's not a big problem. And I think Reaper mobility is not bad. There were specs to get mobility of. Force the dodge. And get another dodge, get the corrupt, and now they are probably dead. Or maybe I'm dead. Maybe we can get this. What is my team even doing? What is this? Huh? I'm a little bit confused. My team is not stomping. My team is not racing. My team is what? Okay. I mean, I'm inspired that, but my team, it's crazy. You see, they are actually having a name that I am not allowed to see. Very good. Please do. I'm already on an alt. Yeah, okay. Meta will be shaken up for Visions of Eternity. Yes, it will be completely, like, I wouldn't say completely changing, but there will be a lot of new additions, of course, with the new elite specs. So I will do tier list builds and stuff. It will be very exciting. Absolutely. They still can win. It's actually crazy. They could come back from this. They could. Ooh, there are 2 people almost dead. Almost outplay. 1v2 here. Almost. Nice. There we go. We did it. A lot of stuff. Very good. We won. Very good. Okay, let's catch up in chat. What can you say about the Herald class and what's the best specialization of it? So, Herald is a specialization. So you're probably talking about Revenant. Revenant is the class and Herald is the elite spec. So Herald is very, very easy to play and very, very strong in PvE for that matter. But it is not the highest DPS. So if you want to have a safe pick for Revenant, which is the class, then it's a very good, solid pick for that. If you want to have more damage, go for Renegade. And if you want to have a good power option or a healer option, go for Vindicator. But right now, Revenant in PvE specifically is a little bit of a... It has really good builds, but only in specific niches. In competitive modes, Herald is a monster. It's really, really good there. For roaming specifically. Who to get that legendary backpack on PvP? How? You just farm a lot of ranked. That's it. You have to farm ranked and you get a lot of you get everything that you need for the backpack. Just farm ranked on multiple classes. That's the only thing that you need, and you get the legendary backpack. Yep, very easy. Evoker should be in S and F tier at the same time in every tier list to tease. Yeah, to tease the single elementalist. Yeah. I think the problem with Evoker will be that Evoker will be a spec that is very, very good for players that have a low intensity playstyle, because you can lock yourself into fire, which is by the concept makes the build probably less good. Yeah, because you lock yourself away from 75% of your damage or your utility. But at the same time, for a low intensity player, it's a really, really good build. But the interesting part is Evoker has traits and interactions that make it very strong in a high APM setting as well. So Evoker will be very, very challenging, or not challenging, but will be very good for high-end players, but will also be really good for, so to say, low-intensity players. I think Evoker will be hard to raid in tier lists like that, absolutely, yeah. If you play ranked, you can get the tickets needed for a PvP backpack. Thanks for the applause. Thanks a lot. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah, it's quite fast. Just play ranked, you get the tickets and everything for the backpack quite fast. It's really just play ranked, have fun, and you will get the backpack in no time. Yeah. Now, the tickets are not class-bound, but there are some achievements that you need to get done for the backpack, which are telling you you have to play. I will show you. There is this Year of the Ascension part, and then you have to do some achievements to get those progress here for those items here. And some of them require you to play on different classes. That's the thing. But you don't need to get all of them. So it does not really matter. Just play ranked and at some point get those achievements, which you can get by playing ranked. That's the only thing. And then you get the legendary backpack. That's how it works. Yeah. What's your favorite build to roam with? At the moment, I would say Catalyst in PvE. In World versus World specifically. Catalyst is really fun. Dagger or Scepter Dagger, those are really good. I'm excited to see how it's gonna turn out in PvP or World versus World. Yes, it will be very interesting to see how the meta changes in all game modes actually. I think that will be, obviously the new elite specs will probably be quite strong, but I think they might not be like completely overtuned. I think they will be just very strong. People will play them because they're new, and they will nerf it down when there is a little bit time left, like 1-2 months after the expansion. I think they will nerf it back down. But before then, I think the new specs will probably be a little bit better than the current ones. So you need to buy the 4 backpacks and forge them? Yes, that's exactly how to do it. I recently turned to the game after being away for a few years and I'm having trouble getting mystic coins. What's the best place or method to farm them? You cannot really farm Mystic Coins. You can buy them from the TP. You can get them from the Wizard's Vault. And other than that, you will just get them very like small amounts, like 1, 2 from a World vs. World pip system or from the Leyline Anomaly. But you cannot farm them really consistently. You can get them from some weekly vendors, but you cannot say, I'm farming this spot and getting like 100 Mystic Coins an hour. That's not how it works. Mystic Coins are at the value they are currently because they are quite rare. So you just have to be patient or purchase it with gold from the TP. Exactly, the thrill of the battle, it's needed. Exactly. How much power creep will there be with the new specs? I didn't play the beta. Did they feel easier to play and can easily reach 45k DPS? So I would say awesome. They had some really easy specs that really were really easy to play and had high numbers, but the numbers can change. So I don't know about the numbers yet, but I think there will be some really power creep in terms of how easy the specs are to play. I think I can already in my mind have like 5 different low intensity builds that are really, really strong when the expansion comes out. So that will be very interesting, but of course the numbers, I don't know if they will be out DPSing all the other specs or if the numbers will be tuned down, we will see. But I think they feel quite fun, most of them. Some of them need some help, but most of them felt quite fun. So I'm really excited for those, yeah. If you're new, the best way to get Mystic Coins is from the Wizard's World, then do the Return to Dragons chain, since you get a couple of them every step. That's good point. Yeah, Amalgam had like even higher than 54k benchmarks. I know a lot of specs had like insane benchmarks over 60k. It's crazy. So it's really, really good how high the damage numbers could go, but they will definitely tune it down. They will do that. So I think that's also the end of today's stream. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. It was really fun. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel. I wish you all a very nice weekend, the rest of the day. Take care, and yeah, stay tuned. We have some really cool stuff coming up next week as well, of course. Wish you a very good time, and more questions will be answered next time. See you around. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for your support.